going to jump over to that. And then I've got a little bit of news and things to go through. Just a few things that I've got that I've noted down. It's not been like the busiest of news today. There's not been loads of news to go through today, but we do have a few things to talk about. So let's bring up the graphic first. We'll do that, get that out of the way. So here is the graphic for this week's show. You can see Hangman Adam Page against Jon Moxley. Obviously, that's been building for a long time. I must admit, I'm very surprised that that's not bigger. I'm very surprised that's not the main event, having Hangman against Jon Moxley. Then we've got Jade Cargill taking on Red Velvet. That actually might be all right. I mean, the match is probably going to be garbage, but it might be all right in the sense of at least there's a bit of a backstory there. Like Red Velvet used to be one of the baddies, nasties, uglies, whatever they're called, and she's not anymore. So we've got a match there, which, as I said, could be interesting, but I'm fairly certain will be garbage. Then we've got Bryan Danielson against Timothy Thatcher. That should be interesting. There's not really a backstory there, but at least that match should be a banger. That should be a lot of fun. Then we've got the Acclaimed in tag team action. Don't think they're facing anyone that special. Otherwise, I'm guessing they would have mentioned them. Then we've got Takeshita taking on Brian Cage. It's a match in it. And then we've got a TNT Championship no holds barred match. TNT champion Darby Allin taking on Ring of Honor World TV champion Samoa Joe. So yeah, I must admit, I mean, the card doesn't look too bad in all fairness. Always great to see the Acclaimed. Hangman against Jon Moxley is a really big match. Danielson against Thatcher, I think, could be really fun. Jade Cargill against Red Velvet. If it's going to be quick but focused more on the story, I'm pretty down for that. Jade Cargill, I believe, is the longest reigning champion in AEW history now as well. So well done to her. And then, Darby Allin against Samoa Joe. That's just going to be a big match in it. Two big names in AEW going up against each other. So, as I said, could be worse. Could be a lot worse. So, I don't think the card looks bad. I would have liked some Jamie Hayter, but then I would always like a little bit of Jamie Hayter to be on the show. A bit of Britt Baker as well. Other than that, yeah. I mean, I don't know if we'll hear from Adam Cole. Obviously, his comeback would be nice to see him and start really building him up. Don't know what the future's going to hold for him. There could be a little something to do with MJF in there as well at some point, but not advertised, or certainly not on that graphic anyway. So, yes, there we go. That is where we are with that. Kieran said Takeshita and Cage follows from last week when Cage was going in on Danielson and Takeshita came out to back him against Cage. I'm looking forward to it. No Flying Zone said I didn't get a notification for this. Well, I mean, look, YouTube's doing YouTube things. To be honest, if tonight we can just avoid any lag, I will be a happy boy. So if it hasn't sent out notifications, people should know by now, shouldn't they? It shouldn't really be a surprise that we are live an hour before AEW. So what do you think of Hager against Claudio? I don't mind. They haven't really got much build for me. I really want to see AEW just really building some stars. They can do it. I mean, what they've done with Jamie Hayter is fantastic. I think what they did with Ricky Starks is fantastic. But I don't feel like Claudio has really done anything. He just feels very static to me. I don't feel any kind of excitement when he comes down to the ring. There's nothing really exciting going on with him. In regards to Jake Hager, I mean, he's got the hat. People are into the hat. So the hat's over. But yeah, I mean, look, if that had been on the cards, I would have been like, okay, cool. But it's not something that's going to really grab my attention. I feel like AEW are in a very weird phase, and I feel like they've been in a weird phase for a long time. I feel like they had a lot of disruption with CM Punk and the Elite going away, and I feel like they had to change plans and change course, and they went with Jon Moxley, and that was fine. And then they end up putting the title on MJF and onto Jamie Hayter. And that felt like the big, here we go, the big reset. Since then, I don't know if things have really kicked on. I think we were in a bit of a slump in December. I think we've come out of that December. Obviously, we're into January now. There's definitely a few green shoots that have shown themselves. But it does feel like there's like plenty of work that needs to be done at the moment. I think if you look over at WWE and you look over at like the Bray story, right? I know there's lots to criticize there and people have been criticizing, but if you look at the Bray story, that's been quite interesting. Like you look forward to what's the next step in that story, like what's going to happen this week. Same with Alexa, like what's going to happen with Alexa this week. We've obviously just had Cody coming back. You've got the whole Sammy story, which is just, I mean, absolutely riveting. I just don't know what there is on AEW that's even close to that. And this isn't knocking AEW, WWE are better, right? I'm not interested in any of that. I'm just genuinely saying, sat here an hour before the show, like, where's the big segment that we're looking forward to? Like, I feel that Hangman and Moxley could be that segment, but it doesn't really feel the same as like the Sammy story that's been like this really long, deep, rich story. Doesn't feel the same as that. Doesn't feel the same as like the kind of Bray situation that's been unfolding. It doesn't feel the same as like Alexa on Raw and like what's the situation there. I sort of feel like they could really do with something, a story, something for us to get our teeth into that's like, oh my God, it's Wednesday, right? What do you think's going to happen? And I just don't think we've got that at the moment. So I don't know. I really don't know where they're going to necessarily find it from. I mean, I suppose you've got Danielson trying to win his matches. But I think we all know he's going to do that. I don't really see that as, I mean, it is a story, but he's going to beat all these people. He's going to face MJF. The question will be, will he win or will he lose? But to be honest, you don't need to really watch Dynamite for that because he's going to get there. And so you can just watch their match at probably Revolution, is my guess. So, I don't know. That's to me what feels like, I think the card looks all right, but it just feels like it's missing that big hook. Just feels like it's missing that big, juicy, like we had a good story with Hangman for a while, you know, where he was quite hot and he was quite over. And it was interesting to see what was happening between him and the Elite and him and Kenny. I mean, you're going back a little while now, but that was pretty good. Wardlow and MJF, that was fire. That was really good. Wardlow got so over out of that story, and he has kind of cooled down a bit now. But Wardlow and MJF, that was such a great story. And as we said, you know, they did some pretty good stuff with CM Punk as well. CM Punk and MJF, that was great. MJF in general has been involved in so many of the big stories, so many of the big talking points. It has been a case that it's like normally you tune into Dynamite to see what MJF's segment is going to be. What's his promo going to be? What's the next stage in his story? I just sort of feel like there's a lot of talent there, which I don't know if they are being a bit handcuffed or something. I really don't know, but I just sort of feel like I don't see people stepping up. That's what I don't see in AEW. Where's the people stepping up? Where's the people maximizing their TV time? I don't know if it's because they've been given certain things to do, to go out there, they do them, and they don't want to rock the boat or whatever it is. Just sort of feel like if this is a show that doesn't have MJF on it, there's a big opportunity here for someone to step up, you know, really get some attention, really do something in a segment that's going to get people talking and get people hooked and get people excited for the next week. And I just don't see really where that comes from. So I don't know. I feel like the next pay-per-view is going to be really good. I feel like, you know, MJF Danielson is going to be great. I've got no concerns about the next cards. It's just, I don't know that we've got that big juicy hook at the moment. Dan said, do you think they will have the AEW game back for Blood and Guts? Do you think they have held the AEW game? I just read that there's a belief that the AEW game has been held because of its rating. Apparently, they want it T for teens, but at the moment, it looks like it's going M for mature, maybe because of the blurs and all that that's in it. So apparently, there's a belief, there's a thought that it's actually connected with that, and that it's a case that they can't get the rating that they want, and that might be why it's getting delayed. So right now, I can't say that it's being delayed on purpose. The only thing I've seen is that it might be the rating that is delaying it. James said the only problem with AEW is they don't build feuds. It's just attacks when the match is done. Maggie said, I'm stepping up when Roman loses his title. I'm going to kill whoever beats him, says Maggie. Godfather's host said, Days, thanks to this, I heard tonight in the main event, Darby is going to attempt to fight 3 wild grizzly bears that Tony Khan has flown in from California. Well, listen, if that's what he's going to do, my advice would be put it on the poster, because I think that would really grab people's attention. You know, we're sat here saying, where's the big story? We're not down on the show. We're just saying, like, just being honest, where's the big juicy story? I do think Hangman Moxley's good, and I am surprised that that's not being positioned as the main event. Maybe it's the show opener. Maybe that's the way they're going to keep people around, is by starting the show with Moxley and Hangman, because that has had a little bit of backstory. We've seen plenty of, you know, Hangman talking with Renee backstage over the previous weeks. Obviously, they've had a few matches before, etc., etc. So there is a story there. I must admit, though, I mean, I've watched Dynamite every week. This is where I would actually really like a video package that just kind of refreshes my mind as to the full story, because I know it's bigger than just the past few weeks. Like, I know they faced quite a while ago, and I sort of feel like there might even have been like the title at stake, but I can't quite remember it. I mean, I've watched so much wrestling, I can't quite remember the full backstory to their feud. But I know that this has been built up over the past few weeks in particular. But a little video package just to bring me up to speed with the story, I'd actually really appreciate if they were to do that. Because if I watch every week and I can't remember the details, someone that doesn't watch every week but tunes in this week, they really need it. So it would be nice if they could do that. But if he is going to fight 3 bears, I would say you need to get that on the poster, because that, my friends, is the big talking point that we are looking for. Billy said, I think the game is not up to par. Kenny has not spoken about it in about 6 months. If the game comes out soon, it'll be bad news. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I've got a couple of little things to talk about before we get stuck into the chat. Nothing massive. Just a couple of things I thought was interesting. Cody did an interview and he was talking about his tattoo. And he said that he got it done on his neck and he didn't realize that it was going to come out double the size he was expecting. So apparently this is news to Cody as well. Like, the size of it was not what he envisaged. I mean, I must admit, I think the tattoo's all right if you want that. I mean, it's not something I would have, of course, but I could understand why Cody might want it. I don't know why he had it on his neck, but his life. But at least now it makes a bit more sense that he didn't want it like this. You know, he was hoping for something a little bit more discreet. I don't think he sees it necessarily as a massive problem, but there's an interview he's done where he says it came out like double the size of what he was expecting. I mean, that's quite an oversight, don't you think? I mean, as far as I'm aware, I've never had a tattoo, right? I have no desire to get a tattoo. If you've got tattoos, fair play. I think they do look cool. Certainly Randy Orton's with his sleeves. I think they look awesome. But my understanding is if you go and get a tattoo, they sketch it out first and they show you it and they like put it on where it's going to go. I would imagine like even at that point, you could even like have a look in the mirror just to like, do I like that kind of a thing? I mean, maybe they don't do that bit, but they do sketch it out because they have to go off the sketch to actually do it. So how did this turn out double the size? with what he was I don't understand. Unless he just went in, it was someone and they just skipped a load of like stages and he was like, yeah, just put it on there. And he's like, okay, do you want me to freestyle it? Yeah, just freestyle it. I don't know, unless because my understanding is it gets drawn out, you look at it, you approve it. Do you know what I mean? Tattoo artists sort of like have to do that to ensure there's no like comeback, disgruntled people not happy with certain things. Well, you approved the design. So I must admit that one confuses me. Maybe it's not true. Like he said it, but maybe I don't know. Maybe like now he's looked at it and he's gone, yeah, it is too big. And I'll just tell him that they did it double the size or so. I don't know. The other thing, though, much better news is that if Cody wins the world title, I don't know how he's going to do this, but he said that as he grew up, it was all about the winged eagle. He wants to bring the winged eagle back. Now, he's very clear in saying he doesn't think he'll be able to. He did bring back the old IC when he was IC champion, but he has been very clear in saying, I don't think I'll be able to bring back the winged eagle, but it is something that he would like to do. Obviously very difficult because at the moment, if he beats Roman, he gets 2 belts. And so unless you just change the one and leave the other as like the blue universal, I don't know. I don't know what you would do there. Sort of feel like that would kind of take away. Do you know what I mean? If you come down with the winged eagle, that's amazing. But then you've got the blue thing next to it and you're kind of holding them both up, acting like they're meant to be the same. Because the winged eagle is goated. The winged eagle is arguably the greatest wrestling belt that's ever been. Like, if you're going to hold up the winged eagle and then hold up the blue universal belt, they're not the same thing. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know. Probably nothing is the truth. In all fairness, it's a great way of getting over with the fans that love those belts. Do you know what I mean? Like, I read it and I was like, yes, Cody, come on. So I'm cheering Cody that little bit more now. So, job done, I suppose. The other thing as well, Tony Khan is interested in Kota Ibushi. You might have seen that Kota Ibushi's contract has expired with New Japan. He is a free agent. He's going to go off, compete for GC Dub. There was an interview with Tony where he said he's always looking at free agents, and maybe the hottest free agent right now is Kota Ibushi. And he's interested, in having a conversation there. I think Kota has come out and said that he wants to open up a wrestling school in Japan first. He's amazingly 40 years old. 40 years old. I mean, you can still get, a good few years out of him. But 40? I mean, that's certainly getting towards the back end of your career, isn't it? More so than anything else. You've got like a few years left, really. I wouldn't be surprised if, you're starting to wrap things up at the age of, 44, 45. So, 40 years old. He wants to open up a wrestling school. I don't know. There's definitely a conversation for Tony to have with Kota. I think, obviously, the Golden Lovers, him and Kenny, and the stories that you could tell. This is what I'm saying. This is what's missing, really, for me at the moment is, imagine a story where Kenny falls out with the Bucks, and there's a beatdown or something, and then, he comes back, but he's not alone. He comes back with Kota. That sort of story playing out over a few months could be very, very cool, very interesting. And I just don't think we've got that going on at the moment. So I think bringing Kota in would be good. I don't think WWE would go for him. They have used him before, obviously, in the 2016 Cruiserweight tournament. And I think Triple H would like him. But I mean, with Vince being back, are you going to get that cleared? I don't know if we're going to be seeing the returns. Triple H managed to get all his returns in before Vince came back. Now Vince is back. I don't know that we're going to see loads of returns coming back now that Vince is back. So yeah, I don't know if Kota would find his way to WWE. I feel like he's probably a better fit in AEW. And I would imagine he'd probably want to go to AEW because that's where, Kenny is and the Bucks and everyone. So, yeah, just a bit of interesting news on that one. Sacanelli said, Days, if Tony Khan ended up buying WWE, do you think he would Jeff Jarrett Cody like Vince Jeff Jarrett on Raw Nitro? I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen. Is my answer. I cannot see any world in which it happens. So I just don't see it happening. I know people say, yeah, but if he comes in with the biggest offer, Vince has got an obligation to sell and get the most return for his shareholders and all of this kind of a thing. But to be honest, I mean, it really depends what other offers are on the table. And I would go as far as to say that if Tony Khan and the Khans put in the biggest offer, and it was by far the biggest offer, I actually think Vince just wouldn't sell. I can't see a world in which he would sell to the Khans. You see, the thing is with Vince, he's got this massive ego. I'm sure you've noticed, and I know he loves money, and I know that he's a businessman, and I know that money talks. But I think there's one thing that he would put over money. There's one thing that he values more than money, and I think it's his ego. It's his pride. That moment when he bought WCW and he went onto Raw and he did the having it in his hands thing, you know, and he did the Mr. McMahon, I now own WCW moment. You know, that obviously was Mr. McMahon, the character. But everything I've heard was that Mr. McMahon, Vince, was obviously pleased as punch and very much felt that way as well, because that was a massive victory for him. You know, if you think about, like, the record books are written by the victors, aren't they? And so everything we hear is about how WWE beat WCW. You don't really hear so much about what was happening in WCW at the time and how they were shooting themselves in the foot at the time. Because of, you know, what was going on with all the companies there and the merger and everything. It's written by the victor. I mean, if you look at the Attitude Era, you would think that Vince just beat WCW, destroyed them, and, you know, won the war. But there's a lot more to it than that. And I think he wouldn't want to give the Khans that moment. He wouldn't want, you know, because the record books would say that AEW beat WWE, wouldn't they? I mean, it's not true. They haven't beaten them in any metric, right? But if they came in and bought and Vince sold, you know, the history books are written by the victors. And so all the wrestling fans would deem it that way. And honestly, it would be remembered that way. That AEW came in, bought WWE, won the war, and all that. Vince just wouldn't want to concede that. So, yeah, I just can't see a world in which we have to even entertain such thoughts. Hell would have to freeze over for Vince to sell to Tony Khan. But Vince would never sell to Khan. He bears grudges like no one else. He is an ego maniac. Yeah, as I said, you know, we all know he loves money. We all know that's a main motivator for him. But I do think that his ego is just that half a step further along the ladder, and I just don't think he would want to give them that. You know, he's he would want to, if he was getting out of it. I think actually, right, and to be perfectly honest, I think he would want to stay. I think that it would be a case that he's looking for the sale. But I think he still wants to remain. And I know a lot of other people think that as well. So I think a lot of people think he wants to sell the company, but he wants to stay in that, like, position of power. He wants to, you know, he knows he won't be the owner. But, you know, like Dana, look at Dana in UFC. Dana in UFC has got all the power. He can do what he wants. He doesn't own UFC, but he is the guy that runs it. He's the guy that's in charge. He is the guy that, you know, right, pandemic, we're going to keep going, right? We're not going to stop doing shows. We're going to go to the Apex, right? We're going to go to Fight Island, and we're going to fight over in Abu Dhabi. Right now, now places starting opening up. We're going to go to London. We're going to do this, going to do that, right? He decides, he's part of deciding what the matchups are, but he's also part of, you know, deciding strategies. Apparently there's a big announcement coming out between UFC and Logan Paul, which has been teased, but I haven't seen what that is. It's probably something to do with Prime. But yeah, like TV deals, all this kind of stuff, it's all Dana driven. Dana is the top of the tree, but he doesn't own it. He got a chunk of money when the new company came in and bought it. So he's had his money, right? He can go. This is what he said actually on New Year's Eve when he was caught, like, slapping his wife. His wife slapped him and he slapped her back, right? And he said, I saw the press conference he did after the first UFC event back. He said, the reporter was like, can we just touch on New Year's Eve? Can we just talk about that? And Dana said, listen, I think I'll be talking about that for the rest of my life. And he said that, I'm, obviously very sorry for what happened. And, I'm currently paying for that in my personal life. It seems like his personal life is really going through it. He's really going through it. I don't know what's happening with him and his wife, but it certainly doesn't seem like that issue has been resolved, and which you can understand. The reporter said something really interesting, though. He said there's a lot of people that think you should face some sort of punishment work-wise, not just in your personal life. And Dana's response to that was, what punishment is worse than my personal life suffering? What punishment is worse? Like, I don't need this job. Like, I've made my money. I'm ticking things over, and I enjoy it. I don't need to be here. You can't punish me. If you remove me from this position, fine. I don't care. I'm not bothered. I don't need this. There is no punishment that you can do for me at work that's going to come anywhere near what I'm going through at home at the moment. So I just thought that was a very interesting answer. Very interesting answer. It kind of divided people in the UFC community, because they were saying, so nothing happens. UFC don't do anything because he says that he doesn't basically care. I thought it was a very interesting answer. I mean, honestly, if UFC tried to do something, I think he probably would walk away. But I think this is what Vince wants. He wants that. He wants to sell the company, but I think he wants something to do. And he wants to stick around. And he wants to still be involved. He wants to still be a player. Retirement is of no interest to Vince McMahon. So I think that he would like that sort of Dana situation whereby he's the guy, everything, the buck stops with him, but it's not his company anymore because he cashed out. He cashed out. So that's what I think Vince is working on at the moment. Hence why, I'm not worried about him and creative, because I think he's trying to get that. That's his goal. He ain't worried about who's Intercontinental Champion, Women's Champion, all this kind of nonsense right now. He don't give a flip, right, about what's going on with SmackDown, Raw, and who's feuding with who, right? It's of no concern. He is trying to get that, which is so much bigger. He wants to sell his company and remain in control, right? He'll worry about it then, right? Whatever's happening booking-wise. And this is what I'm saying, long term, I don't know quite how the future looks for Triple H. If you're Triple H, you're definitely concerned. I mean, you've got to just go with the flow, really. I mean, what will be, will be. You've got to roll with the punches. But if you're Triple H, you don't know that you're going to be booking in a year's time, because if he sells, Vince, whoever he sells to might want to bring in their own booker. So there's a problem. Not only that, if Vince sells, there's every chance that Vince puts himself back in as head of creative, because there's every chance Vince will want to stick around. So you've got that problem. If he doesn't sell, well, what's Vince going to do? Even if a sale doesn't go through, what's Vince going to do? Because if he sorts out the TV stuff, right, and the TV deals, I've got to think that makes a sale less likely. There is a reason as to why they're talking about the WWE sale now. It's because all the TV deals are coming up. So that means freedom. People don't want to buy WWE if it's tied into these long-term deals. If you're Disney, you want WWE on Disney Plus, don't you? That's what you want to do. You want to take everything, put it on Disney Plus, surely? That would be a no-brainer. You don't want to have to, deal with it sitting, bobbing around on Fox and all this kind of stuff. So this is why he's focused on that at the moment. So it's going to be very, very... This whole year is going to be very interesting. But I feel like next year is going to be even more interesting. And I think wrestling is just constantly going through this change, this evolution, as it just never seems to quite be able to settle down. I mean, in a way, you know, maybe like 2017, 2018, it did settle. But then 2019, you had a massive explosion with AEW coming onto the scene. 2020, 2021, you've had lockdown. 2022, the Vince situation, which granted is back now, but now we're building towards the sale. I think everyone knows the sale is priority. And then like next year, you're going to have the TV deals and the sale that's going to go through. It's constantly going through like this turbulence. Kind of crazy, isn't it, at the moment in the wrestling world? It has been a wild since 2019. It's been wild. It's been absolutely wild. I don't know that the kind of news stories that we've been having and like the drama that we've gone through since like 2019, really since the arrival of AEW, I just can't think of like a period where we had such drama like that before. You think about the sale, the lockdown, the Vince stuff, the Sasha walking out, Cody jumping ship, AEW coming along, blah, 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 blah. Like, all of that since 2019 has been mental. It's been mental. And as we said, you know, there's no sign of that going away anytime soon over the next few years. Kian said, I hope Disney buy WWE. Disney has got a lot more merch sales. They could do WWE rides at Disney. I tweeted you something about AEW and their new house show series. House. Let's have a read about these house shows. Right, okay. Will Washington, AEW announces untelevised AEW house rules. Tony Khan today announced the launch of AEW House Rules, a live event series taking place on weekends in markets across the country, continuing the promotion's meteoric rise. And following the success of Dynamite and Rampage, fans can expect an up-close and personal experience at local venues, along with spectacular and engaging environments. These non-televised live events will showcase an electrifying mix of matchups featuring the stars of AEW. Each event offers even more immersive experience for fans, including customized merchandise. That's nice. I'm guessing that's like the venue or something on the shirt. Unique ways to engage with featured talent. Unique ways to engage with featured talent. What does that mean? That mean meet and greets, do you reckon? Like, to meet the wrestlers after the shows? I do think WWE could do so much better than what they're doing. I mean, honestly, if you go to a WWE house show, why don't they make someone available? Even if to meet them, it's a massive queue. At least the option was there. Do you know what I mean? At least the option was there. You might look at it and go, I ain't joining that. Well, the thing is, you know, next time you go to the house show, get there a bit earlier. You'll get further up the queue, won't you? So, but they just, I mean, I don't think I've ever been to a house show where I've seen a wrestler for WWE. Apart from NXT, where they had 3 wrestlers sat at a table in the entranceway. I think it was Deonna Purrazzo, Xia Li, someone else. I can't remember who the other person was. I'd have to go back and I wonder if I put that in a vlog or something. But I distinctly remember Deonna Purrazzo being one. But that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. And I remember thinking at the time they should do this. Certainly for NXT UK. I went to NXT UK numerous times. Never met anyone at NXT UK. No sign-ins or anything. I went to the Birmingham taping. I went to the tournaments. The UK tournament. I went to that. I went to the Royal Albert Hall. I went to a few like NXT ones. I never went to the BT Studios. I never did that. But I went to a fair few shows. Never met any NXT talent. Tell a lie. There was one person I met, and I wish I could find the picture. I reckon I could. I did meet Nigel McGuinness, but that was only because Nigel McGuinness went out of his way to come down to where the fans were and just, meet a few people. He clearly nothing was set up. He came down and he was stood there shaking people's hands and, saying hello. Clearly, that was not something that WWE had organized. There wasn't like a table or a backdrop or anything. It was just literally milling around, which was class. That was brilliant for him to do that. So, eternal respect for Nigel McGuinness. But, that's interesting, isn't it? Unique ways to engage with featured talent. I'm also thinking, does that mean some people will get brought into the ring? Like kids, do a little dance off, something, kind of the Acclaimed being in there. They might scissor some of the kids or something, I don't know. And in-show interactions, different from what is featured on televised AEW. That says to me, then, that bit says to me, bringing in-show interactions different. So interacting with the crowd differently to what you see on TV. Also makes me think maybe they'll do promos and like point out individual people. Don't tend to do that on TV. Very rare would you point someone out in the crowd because it's not about them on the show. You're working towards a story, working towards a purpose. You wouldn't necessarily point people out in the crowd when you're doing your promos. Obviously, you get the odd exception like Becky the other week when she came through the crowds and she was stood next to that dude and he kind of got over momentarily. That was fun. But they'll do a lot more of that sort of thing at house show, wouldn't they? The first AEW House Rules show will take place on Saturday, March 18th in Ohio at the Hobbit Arena. And will feature Ohio's own John Moxley, Claudio, Dr. Britt Baker, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and many more. Tickets start at $20. That's not bad, is it? It's not bad at all. I mean, you're probably stood outside with a glass just listening to what's happening for $20, but that's not bad. As a lifelong fan of professional wrestling who grew up attending house shows, AEW House Rules is an exciting next step in our journey, giving fans a new level of access to top-tier professional wrestling, said Tony Khan. We're always looking for meaningful ways to engage with our fans, and AEW House Rules will be a great way for them to connect with our incredible talent and experience AEW in an intimate setting. Ooh, sounds kinky. The extraordinary success of AEW changed the landscape of professional wrestling as a whole, not only by providing a fresh new product, but also raising the bar in a manner that many deemed impossible a few years ago, said Jeff Jarrett, AEW's Director of Business Development. Now we expand our live house shows. Fans can expect an innovative approach and get up close with the best talent in professional wrestling. In addition to satisfying the passions of die-hard fans, we're excited about creating new fans of all ages through these entertaining events. We are almost at the end. I'm looking forward to teaming with Jeff Jarrett to oversee the expansion and growth of our live event touring schedule, says Raphael Marifi. Who's this? Who's that? AEW's Vice President of Live Events. Raphael Morphy. Morphy? No idea. AEW House Rules ramps up our commitment to creating positive, memorable experiences for our fans at the show. Well, there we go. There we go. Thank you, James. A little bit of information about AEW. I want to see more Mark Briscoe tonight, said Jilly. Don't let Punk meet fans. He'll end up battering them, said Reese. Albania MP says AEW Global Force. Ross said AEW sucks, especially with Toby Khan. I wish his name was Toby Khan. Tony Khan in charge. How did you feel when WWF became WWE? Didn't like it. Don't like change. I'm not someone that likes change. Yeah, I didn't like it. Stupid animals. I mean, that's what happened, wasn't it? I think the UK is to blame. I think WWF World Wildlife Fund, I think they're based here. And for the longest time, they lived in harmony. But then WWE started pushing it a bit too far. Because there was certain agreements that they said that they were allowed to do and not allowed to do. And then it was something like, you can't say WWF or something like this. Like you can have the logo and you can be World Wrestling Federation, but like you can't say WWF, or it was something along those lines. You can do this, you can do that, but you can't do this. And WWE kept doing that. And then the animals got fed up and were like, right, we'll take you to court. And then we did get the fantastic campaign, though, of get the F out. That was brilliant, wasn't it? Whoever came up with that was genius. WWE, get the F out. So that was clever. But yeah, I must admit, I was like, WWE. I mean, now, probably prefer it, actually. Probably prefer it. WWE. Yeah, WWF, WWE. I'm just so used to WWE now. It's just, yeah, I can't imagine it being anything else than WWE, which is weird because it was, and I loved it when it was WWF. So yeah, I hated it at the time, but it's not a problem now, is it? I like the way AEW is progressing. Seems like they are going into an attitude era type direction. There's always a lot of empty seats in AEW crowds. Buildings are small. A lot of empty seats in WWE crowds, in all fairness. If you, I think wrestling as a whole just is that way. If they tend to want to book these big spaces so that it looks good on TV, but they just can't sell out these big spaces like week after week after week after week. So what they do is they cram everyone round onto camera side, hard cam sides. I mean, quite often you'll see pictures from different shows, WWE and AEW, where people have took like a shot of the hard cam side. There's just no one there. It is always crazy to think when like people are in the ring cutting a promo to the camera, behind that camera, pretty much no one at times. Like they move everyone round so it looks full as possible. But the side that the camera's on, you see quite regular photos from that side. Obviously, they make sure there's some people in the front row, so that bit's not empty. So first few rows is always all right. If someone gets thrown into the barricade, you want to have some people there. But actually in the stands, that bit's normally quite empty. But I think that's not really an AEW thing. That's simple. I've seen that plenty of times with WWE. Plenty of times. It's just a bit of a shame, really, because obviously you can have the argument that, like, well, TV ratings are in decline for everybody. So, don't worry. TV ratings are on decline. But then when you look at, like, ticket sales as well, and you look at attendances and whatever and where they are, like, that's, you probably could get a little concerned then if you took that into account. I mean, again, this just brings us back. Isn't it funny to think we talk a lot about how WWE deems success, what they think success is. And we speak a lot about how Vince will look at Google searches, he'll look at merch sales, he'll of course look at ratings. We never ever talk about attendance. Never talk about attendance. And that was always the metric. Your attendances at shows compared to the year before, that was always the metric that you would always look at, because that told you if the business was hot or if it was cold. Whereas we never talk about that now. We never talk about attendances, ticket sales and stuff like that. I know that there are people that look at that online and you do get information about if something's sold out or not or whatever. But it's kind of funny that that is still obviously a very important indicator as to how your business is doing, as to what your ticket sales are like. That's just you always see the TV ratings. You don't really ever see too much information on ticket sales. There is it WrestleTix or someone does put out some information, so there is someone looking at it. But yeah, interesting. It's just interesting how the business has evolved. F ratings. Why are fans obsessed with those? Who cares? Says James. Good point. Well made. Paul said WWE doesn't care about house shows. No, apparently they didn't make money from them. So the cost of taking superstars to these places, buying the building, sort like transporting everything, setting it all up, all this kind of stuff, paying for travel, paying for hotels, whatever it might be, whatever the expenditure was. Apparently it wasn't turning a profit, house shows, even with merch and all this kind of stuff. So this is why, like, it got properly stripped back. I think it got stripped back before the lockdowns, and they really went, like, you know, a bit more bare bones. And then obviously during lockdown, you couldn't do it. And then during lockdown, they got rid of, like, loads of people connected with live events. Now they seem to have come out with, like, a new schedule. I don't know what they do now, to be honest. Actually, that would be really interesting. I don't know what it looks like. I know they do, like, Saturdays and Sundays. So Saturday and Sunday they'll do. I think they do every Saturday, Sunday. And then I think they do, obviously, I'm guessing the SmackDown. I seem to remember that all the wrestlers have, like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off. I think they work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, something like that. I think they work 4 and they're off for 3. That's, I think, what it looked like. So, yeah, I mean, some people might just think the Raw stars only do Raw, SmackDown only do SmackDown. It's obviously not that way at all. They do the Saturday, Sunday shows. And I think they do a little more than that as well. But, I mean, back in the day, it was like every day. It was all the time. Back in the day, I think I'm right in saying that for WrestleMania, they did a house show the night before the first WrestleMania. They actually did a house show. Now, they wouldn't do that now. But back then, they did a house show the night before. They were just doing them all the time. There was a lot of wrestlers that have told stories where they've had to wrestle a couple of times a day. So they would wrestle all every day, but they would also do days where they would do like a matinee performance, and then they'd do a performance later on in the night. And so they were wrestling a couple of times a day. So, I mean, the business obviously moved on from that. Now it's more about the money you get from TV than the money you generate from live events. But when it was more reliant on live events, they were working the wrestlers hard, working them real hard. Vince even joked about it. I remember Vince having a conversation, I think, with Roman when Roman was a face, saying that he worked the Wild Samoans into the ground. And he said that is like, you know, I worked them all the time. We were doing live shows all the time. And he was like laying into Roman, saying about how he like was constantly working the Wild Samoans. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. Big Time Back said, could SmackDown do 2.7 with the Bloodline, or are we getting ahead of ourselves as far as where the ceiling is? I mean, I think we're probably getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, I said that SmackDown the other week I thought would get 2-1, 2-2. It did 2-4. I don't know if that was 2 weeks ago or last week. I think we're probably maxing. I mean, 2-7 would be mental, wouldn't it? Mental. I mean, Raw just did what, 2-1? Everyone's going to be interested in the Sammy story. It's going to be 2-something. Do I go back to my 2-1, 2-2 again? I said 2-1, 2-2. It came out 2-4. I'll go 2-5. Go 2-5. What's the best event you were live in attendance for? Said Wrestle with MD. Best event I've ever been live in attendance. Just tricky, that one. It's tricky because I feel like the only answer I could really give you is a house show from '94, which was when I went when I was young, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, I was so excited, like to actually be seeing the people live. I mean, I would imagine that's what the kids go through now. I mean, as an adult, you just don't feel that way anymore. Like life has wore you down. You're a bit more bitter, twisted, right? But as a kid, I can remember being at school and I just couldn't wait. I could not wait. And like, school finishes, you race out, you race home, you go to the exhibition center. Just going there was a treat because never used to go there. But like it was a big exhibition place where they had loads of halls, and WWE had the main like arena there, of course. So, just going there and like, looking around and everything, all these big halls and the merch stand, of course, and the big posters and other wrestling fans, some dressed up and whatever. I even remember seeing the trucks that for WWE. They didn't have WWE on them, but I remember seeing like the big trucks that were backed up to the building and everything. And just all of that. It's just, as a kid, every single part of that is magical. Every part, even looking at the tickets is like magical. So I sort of feel that I couldn't really go with anything other than that. But the only thing I would say is I was there when Tyler Bate won the United Kingdom Championship. That meant a lot because that's the United Kingdom Championship, which is obviously now defunct. But at least there was one. WWE official WWE United Kingdom Championship. There has been one, and I was there when the winner was crowned. So that felt very special. Being there when The Fiend was revealed felt very special. Because when The Fiend was revealed, it was in London. It was taped because the London shows were taped. So that meant that the 20,000 people in the O2 saw the Fiend moment. And of course, that moment went onto social media straight away. But that show was not aired live. That meant that the 20-odd thousand, I was one of them, fortunately, saw the Fiend just, a few hours before everyone else, basically, for the first time. And I remember doing that video very distinctly, running out of the arena, outside, doing a video. I'm like, guys, you're not going to believe. I couldn't say what was going to happen because I didn't want to ruin it. But equally, I wanted people to know, you've got to watch Raw. You've got to watch Raw. And of course, people were going to anyway. And then, my understanding was that footage was all over, obviously, social media anyway. But that was a pretty special moment. That was pretty special. Seeing Rhea Ripley win the Women's NXT Championship, that was pretty special. That was pretty cool. The only thing I'd say about that is I didn't think the setup was very good. Like, it was actually at the exhibition center in Birmingham when Rhea Ripley wins the Women's Championship. The same exhibition center I was talking about going to watch WWE when I was a kid. But it was in a different hall, and it wasn't in the arena. It was in like an actual exhibition hall. So it was just this big space that had a ring in the middle and seats around, and it just felt a bit slapdash. So that was, the show was pretty good, but I remember watching that, and it wasn't quite as magical. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I've been very fortunate to see some very cool things. I've never been to like a pay-per-view because obviously I live in the UK and we've only had a few. And now that we do the streams, I would never look to go anyway. Like, I'm not going to Money in the Bank. I didn't go to Clash. I can't really think of anything that would make me go now, to be honest, unless like WWE got in touch and said, like, we want you to be there. Do you want to meet some of the wrestlers or something? And they were kind enough to reach out. That's the only thing that would probably make me go, is because otherwise I'd just be here with you guys streaming it. But if you've been and seen something pretty special, put it in the chat. What did you see? We've had people saying they were at like the Montreal Screwjob. which was pretty cool. We've had people at like various rumbles and that people being there when various championships changed hands. Like, I don't know if I could go back and be there for any one moment. I don't know what it would be. If I could be there for any one moment. What one moment would you want to be there for? You know, do you know, honestly, the one thing I really want to go to is Access. Really want to go to Access. I've got a yearning to go to Access. I would be so happy to go to America one year. I'd love to do this. I'd love to go to America, go to Access, look at all the Hall of Fame ring gears, get into a ring. I've never been in a ring, but actually get into a ring. Just have a little look around. I think they've got like an elimination chamber set up. Mattel tend to have a booth there. Some meet and greets if you want to do that. Massive shop there as well. Loads of artifacts and things to have your picture taken, like they tend to have. I think they've had the Firefly Funhouse there and Piper's Pit and all this kind of stuff. Backdrops, interview things. I mean, just amazing. Just amazing. I'd love all of that. All of that. I'd be like, eat it all up. I'd love that more than going to WrestleMania. And what I could do is, after I've done that, get back to like a house, you know, if I rent like Airbnb or something. As long as it's got good Wi-Fi, then I could stream. So I could have the best of both worlds. I could go to Access, and then I could stream WrestleMania later in the day. Do you know what I mean? Tick. So I wouldn't be like missing out on doing the streams with you guys, and I would get to go to Access. So that is definitely a pipe dream for the future. That's a pipe dream for the future. I'd love to do that. Just think it would be so interesting to actually. There's something very rewarding about seeing these items that you see on TV actually in person. You know, that was the one thing I was very jealous of actually for Clash, because when I wasn't jealous about being at Clash, but I was jealous that at the official pop-up shop they had the Davy Boy merch. Like they had Davy Boy boots and they had Davy Boy ring attire, his actual ring attire that you could go and get a picture of and just have a little look at. And his daughter was there as well. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go there and look at that stuff and maybe have a chat with her as well. I'm sure she could tell you some amazing stories and things. So that's what I wanted to do. I would have quite happily have done that, come back over and then streamed Clash and done a watch along and everything. So one day, though. Hannah Montana, best of both worlds. That's me. WrestleBuzz said, I was lucky enough to be there for the Dolph cash-in at the IZOD. I'll always remember that being the IZOD at the IZOD Center. This is where you tell me I'm wrong now. As well as WrestleMania 34, Bryan winning and Taker losing. I mean, that's some amazing stuff to be at. Matt, shout out to you, bud. Really appreciate the support. Matt says, you can't deny that as an emperor, Vince did reign over a mighty empire, surviving many troubles and expanding nonetheless. Could he have maintained this level of success with a less cruel approach? I don't know, to be honest. Genuinely don't know, because when he first starts, he takes the best talent from other territories. I mean, he basically just starts taking people, offering them big contracts and taking them. And that was something that wasn't done, right? Everyone had their own territory and it was all respected. And then Vince came along and is like, I'll give you a load of money, come and work for me. And he started hoovering up all this amazing talent and bringing it into the WWF. Now, if he doesn't do that, I don't know that his product is going to be strong enough. I don't know that he's going to have the star power to be able to then go globally and, well, internationally and become the force that he was. So I don't know that there was a way of him doing it. I mean, could he have been less cruel at times? Yes. Oh, definitely. At times he could have been less cruel. But could he have done it without being cruel at all? Like, I don't think so. I think he had to be pretty cruel to the other territories and people running those territories when he first started expanding. And then not only that, I mean, I think he tied, let's look at recently, he tied loads of people down to contracts so they wouldn't go to AEW, right? Because he didn't want AEW starting here with their ratings. He wanted them starting down here. And so he made sure that all his big names were tied down. Then, of course, he realized, I can't afford to pay these wages. And so what was his solution? It was to start releasing people that he wasn't as fussed about releasing. He started releasing those due to budget cuts. Well, those budget cuts only came along because he had tied everyone down to these massive wages and inflated the budget, right? It was well over budget. So he had to bring it back down under control, and that meant budget cuts. Now, he is being cruel to a lot of people there. A lot of, I mean, like, that was pretty rough, man. There was like 100 people that lost their jobs, like wrestling wise. And then he was making cuts to the business as well. So yeah, you could look at some of that kind of activity and say that, did he need to be as cruel there as what he was? I think he definitely could have been less cruel at times. But I don't think there was a way of not being cruel in business. Business is sadly business. If you're going to succeed, I think you do have to do a degree of that sort of thing, unfortunately. I don't like it, but I can't see really a way around it, because if you don't do it, someone will do it to you. If he didn't do it, someone could easily have done it to him. It's literally dog eat dog. It's survival of the fittest. That's why they say business is business. And he did it to others before people did it to him, before someone could do it to him. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I think he definitely was cruel at times, and there's plenty of stories out there, examples, whatever. But as I said, certainly in the early days, he needed to get his ship in order so that it could obviously set sail with WrestleMania and everything in his mind. That WrestleMania is so important, and if you look at the star power on it, it's pretty impressive. Right, Moxley and Hangman are opening the show. We did think it would be that way, and it is that way. What are your thoughts on AEW's programming, says Brenton. Cornette and Bryan last have said the recent Dynamites have been good. What are your thoughts on AEW recently? I think they've just been a bit flat for me. I don't think they've been bad, but I don't think they've been particularly good. I just think they've been a bit flat. I can't say really that there's a great deal that's been happening. Can I sit here and say that there's loads of stuff that's happening that's like offensive or cringy or repulsive or anything like this? No. But that's because I think they've been really safe. They've just been really safe. Like, where's the exciting storylines? Where are they? We spoke about this earlier. I just think that's something they're really lacking at the moment. Some big, exciting, juicy storylines. This is probably the biggest match that's got like a build tonight between Hangman and Moxley. And to be honest, I just can't remember all the details, all the backstories, like the twists and the turns. Like for me, this has had a good few weeks build. I remember the interviews with Renee. I know that they faced off before, but I wouldn't mind a video package here just to kind of refresh the memory, bring me up to speed with, where we've been with this story, because that would then help me to understand some of maybe the nuances in the match a little better. There could absolutely be some things that pass me by here, but we are in the crowds with this one. As I said, yeah, I can understand people not being down on recent AEWs, but I don't think there's been a great deal to be giddy about with recent AEWs. Some of the ratings as well, not that long ago, were pretty flat. There was a few questions being asked about whether MJF was the right champion, if he was going to be the right person to take them forward, because they were bobbing around the 800,000s, which isn't great. It's not really where you want to be. I appreciate December, as we said, is normally pretty quiet. But things, I think, ratings-wise have picked up recently, most notably last week. But, I mean, obviously, we did have the Briscoe thing, which was massive. Elbow drop there by Moxley, pulling at the leg of Hangman. He's got a steel chair, putting it over the ankle of Hangman. Hangman down. Bray, LA Knight is continuing on house shows in a pitch black street fight, says James. Is it Ultraviolet still, or is it? Are they still doing it as Ultraviolet at house shows? That'd be interesting. Right, we've got Hangman grabbing a chair. Moxley is down. Hangman looking to suplex Moxley onto the steel chair, and he does. Moxley suplexed onto a steel chair that was down on the floor. The storytelling outside the ring is okay. It's just that nothing can compare to Bloodline's story right now, said Sean. Jonathan said, how are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good, buds. I hope you're well. I drove 2 days from Tulsa to see this, sign said. They've just got back into the ring. The bell has sounded, so this match is now officially underway. Shots coming in by Hangman. Is there a sign there that says, John Moxley, please bleed on me? Is that what that sign says? Drop kick. Like a young lady, is it? Yeah, is it? Yeah. John Moxley, please bleed on me. People are weird, man. People are weird. I'd have to go up to that lady. I'd be like, are you all right? Is your helper with you? Jade Cargill against Red Velvet tonight for the TBS Championship. Moxley's bleeding! Yay! Go over to that woman! Go over to that woman! Oh, God, she'd love it. She'd explode with joy. German suplex by Hangman. Money in the Bank is coming to the United Kingdom. It is. Yeah, it is. It is. That's very exciting. I'm very pleased for my fellow countrymen and women. Very exciting news. Right, we've got Moxley in the corner. Hangman going to throw in a chop. Chop. There it is. Moxley comes forward, goes down. Crowd on their feet for this one. They haven't sat down. Referee has got gloves on. Shots coming into the side of the head by Hangman. Got blood on his... blood on his... yeah, he's bleeding quite a bit there. That cut seems to be gushing a little bit. Moxley on his feet, screaming out at Hangman. Chop coming in by Hangman. Another chop coming back. These two exchanging blows in the center of the ring. Strikes against the ropes goes. Moxley gets caught. Moxley midair. Hangman in the center of the ring. Hurls Moxley across the ring. Hip up by Hangman. Mick Foley in the front row in a green shirt. Oh, yeah. Clothesline as Hangman comes off the corner. Look at the blood. Look at the blood. It's all around here. Jeez. Yeah, I don't think he can necessarily see out that eye because I think the blood keeps going into it. Moxley looking for a neck breaker. Sleeper hold applied. Edge of the ring. Moxley. Sleeper hold applied to Hangman. Hangman raking at the eye. Gonna go for a pile driver, is he? Moxley. Bleeding all over Hangman. Reversed by Hangman. No, edge of the ring. They're going back and forth at the moment. Someone's going to succeed. We're going to go... No. It is literally back and forth. Trying to get him over. He's going to dead-eye him. No. Trying to get him up on his shoulders. Someone's going to do something. Hangman's got Moxley on his shoulder. And he throws him into the ring post as Moxley goes out the ring. Meave said, I've seen clearly Mox use a pin-like blade to bleed. That's a big botch. Quite a bit of blood. There is quite a bit of blood. Mitchell said, Jim Cornette is going to love this. Yeah, he's not a fan of blood being overused, is he? I mean, I must admit, the other thing I would say is, like, this is the start of the show, and I understand you want to keep viewers around. But, like, how are things going to follow this? With all this blood and everything, like, we've got to settle down into a normal show. I sort of feel like if this was your main event, if this was closing the show, but it's not, is it? We've got to do a whole show after this. I've got to think that Jade Cargill against Red Velvet's going to feel a little bit flat after all this brutality. Chops coming in. Did you see Jay Briscoe mural floating around? Someone shared it. Looked good. Haven't seen it. Erase Your Mind said blood and guts have come early. Mox needs blood for Renee, said TJB. I don't think Renee's going to be enjoying this, to be honest. I can't imagine this is stuff that Renee enjoys. Moxley back in the ring. Hangman getting back in there. Please bleed. I can't believe they... Oh my God, there's a sign that says, Scissor Me, it's my 10th birthday. There is a sign. There's a sign that says, John Moxley, please bleed on me. And then there's a sign that says, Scissor Me, it's my 10th birthday. What is this? What is this debauched show? Forearm strikes, chops coming in by Moxley. No. Straight up, yes. Raking of the back by John Moxley. Raking the back and going for it again. Is it just me or does that look good? When he's like digging in and like really I think, oh yeah, I quite fancy one of them, you know. I bet that's good. Oh yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like he's using his nails. I don't think he's got much in the way of nails. It looks like he digs his fingertips in, really gets into the muscle. And then like, but I bet that's like, oh, a bit lower. I bet Renee requests them on a regular basis. Ooh. There was a move off the top there that looked a little bit brutal, I think would be the word. Maybe I'd have to see a replay. Looked like he came down on his head. Oh, we just went from the massage spot to a pretty brutal spot. Now he's got blood in his mouth. Hangman's got Moxley's blood in his mouth. Oh my God. Well, I certainly feel like I'm watching some. Stay down, says Hangman. Stay down. Shouting at him. At what point, when do you think we would have Renee come down pleading for this to stop? That would be great. Imagine that. Imagine, I mean, like, we're nowhere near that, but imagine if, like, Moxley was, like, bleeding and beaten up. Imagine how powerful it would be if Renee came down, like, pleading, maybe even with the towel, like, pleading, and she threw the towel in. That'd be so good. That'd be so good. Mitchell said, don't worry, everyone. It's just ketchup. Strike coming in by Moxley. Another strike coming back. Someone's got a sign that says, hi, Mom. And then what they've done, quite clever, is they've spray painted an X over the last M. So it's hi, Mom, but it's also hi, Mox. I like that sign. That sign, I appreciate that a lot more than John Moxley, please bleed on me. Kick coming in by Moxley. Kick to the midsection. And kick to the arm. Moxley throwing in these kicks. Goes round the back. Sleeper hold applied. Sleeper hold applied. The crowd have stayed standing, you know, throughout this whole match. Nice suplex there by Hangman. I feel like there's another sign in the crowd that's got QR codes. Yeah, someone's got a QR code, but they haven't made the sign very well. It's like a white sign with like handwritten stuff at the top and then like a printed out QR code on the sign. It's right in the center. There's a dude with a white coat, little bit by the steps. He's not got the sign up at the moment, but I just saw him holding it up. It looked rubbish. Mitchell said, are you kidding? Mox probably bled at his wedding. That's true, actually. That's true. Imagine the photos. Yeah, that's true. Elbows coming into the side of the heads. Mox bleeds while stepping through the crowds. How much longer do you think this feud will go? I can't imagine they've got much more left to do. I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't know, like, this close to Revolution, do you blow it off there? I mean, I don't even know what you would do there, to be honest. It'd have to be a stipulation match of some kind, dog collar or something. Moxley was rolling through. He's got the armbar applied. Armbar applied to Hangman. Hangman trying to get to the ropes. Moxley in control. They're giving this first match a bit of time, aren't they? We're nearly 20 minutes in to this show. We went straight to this. We haven't had promos or anything. Both guys down at the moment. Come on, John Moxley said, legend killer. Days, I scanned the QR code. It said Bam Bam Boogzalo is coming. Boogzalo. Bam, bam. Right, Moxley charges over. Bam Bam Boogzalo. Moxley goes crashing to the outside, dumped over the top rope. So Moxley on the outside, Hangman going up. He's going to look for a moonsault. He's going up. Moxley's got plenty of time to move out the way. And he does! Well done. Well done. I love it when they do that. If someone genuinely has got time to move out the way, much respect when they do. Much respect when they do. That was good. So Moxley moves out the way. Hangman crashes to the floor. Goes over and it's going to look to grab Hangman. We're over by the timekeeper's table. It's going to look to powerbomb. No, it looks like might be reversed. Oh, back body drop. Thought it might be a back body drop. Might be the dead eye as well, but either way, both guys are clotheslining into each other. Oh, spinebuster. Spinebuster through the table. John Moxley goes through the table. Hangman puts Moxley through. Holy shit chance. There goes the table, says Erasure Minds. I am the table. The table just died. Welcome to the Boogs movement. I love Boogs. I love Boogs. Right, Hangman in the ring. Moxley is back in the entranceway. Rest with Andy said the UFC just bleed guy can't get enough. Just bleed. He's loving it. That might be him. He might have the John Moxley bleed on me sign. It might be. Clothesline by Hangman. Hangman looking for the dead eye. Bang, gets it. 1, 2, and shoulder up by Moxley. Moxley kicks out. Moxley survives. 2 days from Tulsa. Give him more tickets, said TJB. Might be lying. Can't believe everything you see on signs. You might only live 10 minutes down the road. Right, we got Hangman in the corner. With the lack of blood we see in WWE, do you think a little blood in Sammy Kevin beatdown would have made the moment more special? I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I personally would have liked a little. I thought there would be some in my prediction for that segment. I said I thought they would attack Sammy, rip his clothes, and we'd have a little blood. I sort of felt like you just go all in on that. Just go all in, all out, just whatever. Do you know what I mean? Make it as brutal as possible. But to be honest, I mean, it was so good. It was so good. I can't really say it. Would the pop have been? Well, the pop wouldn't have been bigger because the blood would have come after. But would that segment have been better? Would people have looked back on it even fonder? I don't know that they would. To be honest, I don't think it's a problem. I really don't. That segment was so well executed. I've watched it again today. 1, 2, Hangman, kick out. I watched it again today. There are so many things that could have gone wrong in that segment. So many things. So many just little nuances that could have gone wrong. That, someone being slightly out of position, cameras not picking up on certain expressions, someone corpsing, someone not really delivering, the right sort of facial expressions, or, even Roman, the way he was talking to Sammy. The other thing I thought, credit to the commentators, they sit out that moment. They don't say anything. That whole moment goes without any commentary. It didn't need it. Don't need to hear them waffling over the top. That was cinema. Kick out by Moxley after a buckshot lariat. Moxley constantly coming back here. So yeah, there was loads that could have gone wrong with that. None of it did. It was brilliant. I can't say that it would have made any difference. I given the option, I would have took a little. Good little match this. What I will say is they're really 1, 2, 3. Shame to end it with a little roll-up. Moxley wins with a little roll-up. I mean, that was a real battle. There's a little roll-up in there. It's a deeply unsatisfying finish. Moxley's music plays. Hangman's going to be frustrated. Wheelie Yuta comes down. Here's Claudio. Hangman pushing Claudio, getting in the face of Claudio. So it's a win. Moxley pushing Hangman. These two still, it doesn't feel resolved, does it? They're still pushing at each other. They don't like each other at all, do they? Moxley got the win, but I don't think he found the decisive victory he was looking for, says Excalibur. He does want more. Reckon it'll be Revolution. They will do that. They will do like a net dog collar or something. I think AEW have got themselves in a corner. I get they have to capitalize on Mox in Ohio, but they've also got Darby, Joe, no holds barred. Will we get chainsaws in that match to follow this? Right, well, Hangman walks away. We get the Moxley music. Where do we go next? Where do we go next? Days, it is beyond me, but why hasn't anyone challenged John to a first blood match? Not only would you get the win, but it'd be the shortest match ever. Perhaps John wouldn't accept that. John, you know, I've got to think that he is fully aware that he bleeds quite easily. What happened to Bryan Danielson? He's on this show tonight. He's taking on Timothy Thatcher. That finish will be talked about, said John. Yeah, it's not sad, but the only thing I would say is it's not satisfying. It was a great match. I really enjoyed it. I was watching it, and yeah, I mean, look, you can talk about the blood. Was it needed? It happened, right? But there's no denying that these two were like really going at each other. I mean, this is what I love. That's what I enjoy in pro wrestling. I'm not crazy about the high flying aerial, you know, no selling kind of stuff. You could definitely argue there was some no selling in this match as well. But this was two guys really battling, trying to get the win over each other. Didn't know which way it was going to go. So not really predictable. Some nice spots, some nice kickouts, crowd on their feet throughout the whole match. We never got to like this is awesome chants or anything along those lines, but I mean, I thought that it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. I was quite entertained. I was watching it. Didn't know which way it was going to go. The roll up is a problem, but the only thing I would say is that clearly we're building towards another match. That just does not feel done, does it? It doesn't feel like it's resolved. So this is why like Revolution might be where we're heading to with this. And maybe that's where we get the resolution. So it's a way of giving you the match and giving you as much of a main event match as possible. Giving you like a satisfying match as much as possible. But we've got to do this finish because we need to get one more match out of this, basically. We're not finishing it here, basically. Not one woman in 30 minutes. I did not know some people with their accounts might be boys, but I think girls, not boys. You know what you mean, Chrissy? Melissa said, does AEW have a bag of blood backstage for Moxley after this match? I'd imagine they've learnt that lesson. If ever Moxley's wrestling, I reckon you've got a whole blood bank on standby. I feel like the first 30 minutes was AEW trying to get a story building, get fan interest. Well, I mean, listen, this is what I was a bit critical of in the hour before, and they've just given us... honestly, that's a match which you could see on a premium live event, a pay-per-view. I don't know if you went to picture-in-picture or anything, but I didn't have any interruption. I didn't notice any slowdown. Normally, when we go to an ad break, the match slows and it dies. That match didn't have, or not that I noticed, any sort of slowdown. No significant period where we went to a commercial break. So I feel like we just got a good 20-odd minute proper match between those two. Again, you can debate about the bloods. Is it necessary? Probably not. But we all know that's what happens in John Moxley matches. But yeah, the ending. The ending is a problem. I'd definitely look to change that. But as I said, I think they'll probably build into Revolution. Right, we are at commercial break right now. So we are at commercial break. Weapon of mass seduction says boobs. I never needed you at all. Rick Boobs. Here's Renee. I think I'd like her to look a little more concerned. She's probably just relieved it's finished. But she's backstage with Bernie and Jamie Hayter. We're impressed with your recent win. Great win. I know. You won't back down from a challenge. So here's a challenge. Something's happening. Renee says something's happening. We're backstage. Britt's being attacked. Saraya and Tony are attacking Britt. Saraya said, "This is our house. Where are you, Jamie?" So Bunny just said, "I challenge you to a match next week. Eliminate a title thing." And she says, "Yeah, sure." And then we just see Britt Baker getting attacked. Here's the Acclaimed. Listen. Oh. That's good. I didn't get the you two look like you have sex with each other stuff, but he then said he called them the bootleg Beverly Brothers, which I really appreciate that. Calling them the bootleg Beverly Brothers, that's nice. Here we go. We got some scissoring going on. Do you know, when they come out, you have to listen. I have to listen. I feel Max Caster has what it takes to be a main event single stars. He's one of my favorites of the AEW original, said Wrestle with Andy. It is amazing how over they are. You know, in a very competitive tag division, they've really got themselves up to the top. Legitimately up to the top. So, yeah, just funny, entertaining. The 10-year-old that wants to be scissored is loving it. Oh, the bootleg Beverly Brothers are going to do it. Bootleg Beverly Brothers are getting an opportunity to shine. They're teasing that they're going to do it. Oh, Acclaimed are just watching them. Yay! They did it. I'm surprised. I thought the Acclaim were going to stop them. The bootleg Beverly Brothers, like the Hogan Macho Man handshake from the Mega Powers when they finally shake hands. It was a bit like that where the bootleg Beverly Brothers were going to do a scissoring thing. I thought the Acclaim would stop them before they did. They didn't. They just allowed them to do it, then kicked them in the face. Why is Billy Gunn in? Isn't this still a match? Now Aubrey gets him out. Okay, well, we are. It doesn't matter, does it? Who cares? Right in the Beverly Balls. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I feel like Tony is seeing what WWE are doing storyline-wise and bringing eyeballs. He may tone down the back-to-back matches with a little something else in between. Well, I hope all of wrestling learns from what the Sammy story has done. Because that has just been absolutely gripping and captivating. Here's the Guns. Guns are making their way down to the ring. I don't know where we stand with these. So Acclaimed have won, of course. They beat the bootleg Beverly Brothers. Triple Bs. They're the Outrunners, Truth Magnum, and Turbo Floyd from OVW, says James. Bit of facts, bit of knowledge drop there by James. If anyone's going to know, he's going to know. Okay, we've got the Guns in the ring. We're here to talk about something serious. We want an answer right now about if we can have a shot at your belts. Yo. Listen. Rod and Todd. Okay, so Bowens is doing the talking now. Actually got a little bit of back and forth between the Guns and the Acclaimed. So we're just waiting to see if the Guns will get their opportunity, of course. Could be a banging match, that could, you know. Could be a lot of fun. Mitchell said, Billy is a terrible dad. He never bought his son shirts. They're always shirtless. That's why they're so mad. Billy spent all his money on scissors. I'm sure he could get them some Acclaim shirts if they want some Acclaim shirts. Not a problem. Yeah, I don't get the argument, to be honest, of you were never there for us. What can I do to make you happy? Give us tag title matches. Don't really get that. Right, they're getting in each other's faces. Billy Gunn's getting involved now. Enough already. He says, I'm sick of this. Daddy Ass has had enough. Daddy Ass is walking away. Do what you've done our entire childhood. Turn your back on us. Billy Gunn still walks. Why don't you go drown your sorrows in the bottom of a pill bottle? He's turned around. He's coming back. That has touched a nerve. Billy Gunn getting into the ring. Microphone dies on him. Don't. You said it, you look at me. They seem to be struggling to keep straight faces, I think, here. Well, that ain't going to do the microphone any good, chucking it down like that afterwards, is it? Bit of a shame that now they smile. Now they've got, like, smiles on their faces. I think, yeah, I agree. I think, like, we're trying to get a bit of a story going. Billy made the match. He did, yeah. I think I sort of liked it when he got back in. I think the fact the microphone didn't work derailed it a little bit. Then when his kids were smirking, I mean, you could make the argument they were smirking because they knew their plan was working. It just didn't in the moment feel that way to me. It felt like, oh, this is a bit funny, like dad shouting at me kind of a thing, you know? Yeah, I didn't hate it. Interesting. What did people think? Mics are better than Billy Gunn. Billy Turn incoming next week, said James. We need to bring back Bart Gunn, the Road Dogg, and Chuck. Big Time Back said it's firing at the wall and seeing what sticks. Have you heard that Gable Steveson is progressing? It was reported earlier that he was slow in learning pro wrestling techniques. No, those reports were wrong, apparently. Or that was reported like last year that he wasn't progressing at the pace they wanted. And then a report came out that that wasn't true. He was actually injured. So my understanding is that he is behind where he needs to be, but he's not behind because he's not picking it up. He's behind because he's had injuries and things that have got in the way. I thought there was a chance we'd see him at the Rumble. Clearly not. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their plan for him is, I've got to think you'll see him in some capacity at WrestleMania, whether he'll be a mystery opponent or something along those lines, or maybe it'll be another year where he's not on the card. Maybe they call him up after WrestleMania. Perhaps they're looking at it thinking, well, just a bit too soon now, but we could introduce him the night after WrestleMania. He'd be an interesting person to bring in then. How long do you think it'll be before Mark Briscoe will be back? I'm excited to see him. Could be one of their best baby faces. I've got to think that that's something Tony is considering. I don't know what he wants to do. To be honest, right now, the funeral was only the other day, wasn't it? So right now, the focus has been that. Whether they've actually sat down and discussed what the next steps are going to be yet, I'm not too sure. Brian Cage making his way down then. So Brian Cage versus Takeshita. I checked out Power Slap and it's awful. Episode 3 last week, they were staging arguments to get heat. Dana is trying to add scripted reality into the mix. Yeah, I've said before, like, it's even before, like, the reviews came in that were not very positive at all. I sort of thought, like, well, you could maybe do it once a year or something, but I just don't see how it's going to be like a regular thing. Seems like they've looked at that then, and so they're putting in a little bit of scripted drama to try and, get a narrative going. I don't know that this is going to stick around, to be honest. I really don't. I feel like last week had a great bump because there was quite a few people around anyway watching the Mark Briscoe thing, so that meant there was a good lead in. I don't think they're going to have anywhere near as good a lead in this week. I've got to think their ratings will drop from last week's number. But I don't know what they're projected to do. I don't know what they were expecting to do. I don't know, they might be meeting expectations, might they? I don't know what that time slot normally does. Are you doing a Super Bowl stream? I think there's a good chance, but we'll probably do it on the second channel. Always a little bit nervy about Super Bowl streams because there's a lot of, copyright things you got to be careful with. Like, people have said you can't even use the word Super Bowl. You have to say the big game, all this kind of stuff. So I don't want to, for a one-off exception stream, something that we don't normally do, I'd probably just do it over on the other channel. So that's Wrestling Days clips. The Jay Briscoe tribute show was beautifully done, said James. Only once, Mark. It's the network that blocked it, said Gordon. DJB said, I'm glad these two have back-to-back appearances. They are good guys. What is the second channel? It's Wrestling Days Clips. I've said before, the way I use that second channel is I know what I'm doing on this channel. Like, on a Wednesday, we do AEW. On a Tuesday, we do NXT. On a Monday, we do Raw. And I don't really want things to really get in the way of those streams. So if there's something big that happens before those streams start, I'll put it on the second channel. Afterwards, once the stream's been and gone, then, I tend to put stuff on the main channel. But I tend to use the second channel for that. I also put my reviews on that second channel. Currently, I only do reviews for Raw and SmackDown. But that goes on the second channel as well. So it's a little bit messy, but it's, I would say definitely more content. If you enjoy what we do on this main channel, yeah, you'll find more over there. Not watch-alongs per se, but yes, we will do probably the Super Bowl on that channel. I think that makes sense. Right, I think we're about to go to commercial break as Brian Cage is in control. It should be called Super Bowl Halftime Show Stream. Yeah, I do love that. We do watch the whole thing, and we do, I'll be the first to tell you I don't have a great understanding of the rules, but this is where people in the chat come in and they, bring their knowledge, and kind of makes it quite interesting, to be honest. But I'm very respectful of the game. Like, it's not like I'm ripping into the game or anything like this. I actually really like. I only watch that one game a year, but I actually really like it. But yeah, I do get quite excited for the halftime show. Rihanna this year, isn't it? Should be good. Chop coming in by Takeshita. Big boot by Brian Cage. We're 46 minutes into this show. Anyone know who's doing the halftime? Rihanna. Rihanna's doing the show. One of the execs at Warner Brothers Discovery said Dynamite Rampage are killing it, which is hilarious given that Rampage is at 400,000. I think the expectation for Power Slap is low. Right, we've got Cage. Takeshita lands on his feet, goes for a kick. Cage moves out the way. Back in the corner. Drop toe holds. Takeshita against the ropes. Cage goes against the ropes, looking for a lovely work. Lovely work. 619 is what he just delivered. Cage back in the corner, charging over. Takeshita collided into. Nice Inzaguri, looking for a German. Kind of came down on his shoulder. That looked pretty brutal. 1, 2, and shoulder up. Why has Brian Cage been featured so heavily recently? I don't know. Actually, I mean, like, apparently he's been putting feelers out for other companies to come and pick him up. I really don't know. I don't know why all of a sudden now Tony Khan has started to try and use him a little bit more. Seemingly, he's got no desire to stay. I don't even know if Tony's got a desire to keep him. Right now, he's got Takeshita then. He's going to go for a power bomb. Got Takeshita in position. Boos coming from the crowds. Picks up Takeshita. Oh, he's going to look to drive him in the corner. No, Takeshita. Nice reversal. Brian Cage goes into the corner. Knee to the back by Takeshita. Takeshita jumping up. Nice drop kick from the corner. Brian Cage goes down. Are you bringing back Football Days? No. I feel like wrestling is overlooked because cable is on its last breath. Scripted shows are dying. WWE has got a loyal fan base that tune in every week. Without trouble, said Big Time Baxter. Well, I don't think they're being overlooked because this is why Fox paid wasn't it like $1 billion or something? And Peacock paid $1 billion. So, I mean, I can't say that those deals make me think that wrestling is being overlooked. I mean, I think there's a stigma to wrestling. Certain channels just don't want to be associated with it. But, I mean, look, as people are getting more and more desperate for ratings, as people are battling more and more to try and get people's attention, who knows if some of those opinions might change? But there's, a lot of players in the landscape now, as we said, with streaming services that have popped up in recent years. WWE was one of the first, and they launched in 2014. So that's 9 years ago. And the landscape has drastically changed in the last 9 years. So, sit down powerbomb by Takeshita. I think it's going to be a very interesting bidding war. Add in the sale as well, and things get very complicated. What are your thoughts on Takeshita's push? Rumors are that he's in line for a big push. Probably why he interacted with MJF to test the waters and how they would take to him. I see him as one for the future. I mean, pushing him's fine. Yeah, I mean, give him a push. But I don't know what that looks like. I mean, I would probably be putting a mid-card belt on him. Shoulder up by Takeshita. I'd probably put a mid-card belt on him. I think I'd probably book him a bit similar to how WWE are booking Gunther. Or maybe Austin Theory. You give him that kind of mid-card run. Yeah, put him in the mid card, give him that mid card run, and then just like, build them up, have them achieve different things whilst being champion, holding on to a champion. I mean, if Takeshita held the TNT title for 200 odd days, something along those lines, that's obviously going to be building him up. Certainly if he's doing a few open challenges, and like being put into like teams and helping out certain things. So if that warrants a big push, I'd be all for that. But do I think he's ready to be like mixing it at the top of the card right now? No. But like book him like Theory, book him like Gunther. Lovely. We're still underway with this one as Bryan has got Takeshita in the corner. I want to see Brian Cage against Rick Boogs, said The Beach Kevin. Did anyone lose their picture? I did. Yeah. I did. I thought it was just a little glitchy thing. I just went to like reset it, but then I realized it was actually Fight and not me. Thankfully, it was only down momentarily. We've got a little banner in the top corner that says Revolution is March 5th. So we're just over a month away from Revolution. Takeshita charging over, knee strike. I think he caught Brian Cage with that knee. Going for the cover. 2, 3. Gets it, Gets it. Takeshita getting the victory. Cage is out. Takeshita picking up the win. Takeshita's got his hands raised. Four out of 5 TV match. Typical fight going wrong. Yeah, it was a pretty decent match, wasn't it? Pretty decent. I like the first match. I must admit, this one took a little bit of time to grab me, but towards the end, I was enjoying it. Right, we're backstage with the Jericho Appreciation Society. We haven't worked together in 5 years, and you're accusing us of cheating. Okay, so I think they're talking to Starks and Action Andretti. Bron Breakker versus Cage any day over this, said Michael. Good match because Brian Cage held it together, said TJB. Okay, so he says, Ricky, first you're going to have to beat Cool Hand Edge. Then you got to beat Daddy Magic. So he's saying, like, you've got to go through the whole Jericho Appreciation Society, basically. Undercover Manager, shout out to you. I just got in. What have I missed? It's been all right. It's been a couple of decent matches. And the Acclaimed thing was okay. Been all right. Been all right. I've been watching you for years. You wear that shirt. I've been watching you for years, and you wear that shirt, says John. This shirt. I've got loads of these. These are just like black t-shirts that you can get from Primark here in the UK. I must have about 20 of these. They're good. The problem is when you're in front of like a green screen, you sort of have to be a little careful with what colors you wear. You can't wear green, for example. And I have found out in the past you can't wear blue because that also disrupts things. So all of a sudden you have to start taking those things into account. So I get around all of that by just wearing plain black t-shirts. Easy, done, simple. Donald, shout out to you, my friend. I appreciate the kind words. Big Time Baxter said wrestling has that stigma that other media companies run away from. Yet both WWE and AEW attract a lot of young adults that in 2023 don't watch TV very often. Forget about this match. It's been crazy, said TJB. We are at commercial break right now. We've got 4 minutes till. Do you know, I do halftime scores now, actually. Because normally we wait, don't we? Normally we wait.
Halftime scores.
And then we're too late.
It's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
I don't feel like that halftime score song was that long ago. I feel about 20 years older than that. I'm just looking at it, and I'm looking at me now, and I'm like, what's happened to me? What has happened? Even this clip here. Look at the vibrancy I had. Where did that go? I feel like it's gone. Mitchell said, "You're not really outside." Oh no, yeah, Mitchell, yeah. Next, you'll tell me that Santa's not real. I'm outside, bud. I'm outside. Just some people just like to think that this is a green screen, so I like to play into that for them. 7, 6.5, 625, 8, 3, 7, 2, 7, 8, 7, 775, 6, 7, 6.5, 7.5, 7.5. Tim said 0 for me, dog. My dog. 8, 6, 7, 3. Got lots of 7. I feel like I said 7 a lot there. I feel like I said 7 a lot. Vibrant days, I know. God. Look at me. When I had energy. I just feel old and bitter now. Right, we've got the Elite. And next week. Okay, so they said next week you guys can shoot your shot. How about Top Flight and AR Fox step up to the Trios champion? Oh, that's really good, actually. That was nothing. How did he do that? That was nothing but net. Did they have someone just out of shot just to drop the ball? Because that was really good. We've got Hardy and Ethan Page. And is that Moriarty? That was not swoosh, yeah. I was impressed with that. Fair play. Just out of curious, do you play that Bianca Belair song for Super Chats during the UFC streams? Can't remember. I think so. I think we do, yeah. I never change it. I did change it before because I was getting fed up of missing the Super Chats all the time. And there was some of the alerts that come up, I don't make much noise in them. So I went with the loudest one I've got, which is the Bianca Belair one. Yeah, it wouldn't bother me to sing the Bianca song on a UFC stream. It's what real men do, yeah. That's what men that are comfortable with their fandoms, their standums. I'm comfortable with standing Bianca. Do I care? Do that in front of UFC fans, AEW fans. Here's Danielson. Remember the firm? Pepperidge Farm remembers, said Eric. Did you hear Booker T only found out he was in the Rumble when he had a text during the pre-show? No, I haven't heard that at all. Did he? He got a text. Shouldn't he have picked a number? Isn't that how it works? Shouldn't he have gone and picked a number off the wall? What's an American Dragon? Linda McMahon. Danielson versus Thatcher, innit? Thatcher. This will be interesting. Timothy Thatcher. I think he's in New Japan now, isn't he? Timothy Thatcher making his AEW debut is a submission specialist, trying to keep Danielson away from MJF. Noah. Here's him in Noah. Yeah, I mean, we saw him in NXT. He's the kind of guy that would struggle in WWE, though. He's a proper old school wrestler, isn't he? Who are they? Are they talking about Billy Robinson? Oh, Johnny Valentine. Right, we are underway with this one then. Danielson against Thatcher. And this could be pretty fun. We're into the final hour. There's a sign in the crowd that says MJF fears goats. This isn't Hardy the Singer. That was horrible. No, there's no Hardy the Singer here. What would you think would be a good time for Tony to have a DQ finish, injury angle, and have Bryan out for the pay-per-view? Thatcher is really talented. If AEW want to bring him in, he shouldn't lose clean. I think he can lose to Danielson. I think if he pushes Danielson to like a limit and just falls short, I think he would show that he's at a very, very high level. I don't think that would be a problem. I mean, Danielson has to win, doesn't he? I mean, there's ways you could book it. You could have MJF come down, start beating up on Danielson, and do a DQ that way. I don't think you'd need to do like an injury angle or something like that. But yeah, you could have it whereby MJF comes down. But honestly, even if like he pushes Danielson to his limit, really wears him down and looks really good, as long as he looks good and impresses people with this performance, that'll do a lot for him. There was reports that Timothy was interested in New Japan before joining WWE, but they weren't interested, so he went for the second offer. AEW is getting more and more boring, said can't stop, won't stop. I think someone in the crowd is a Days fan because I see MJF fears humble. I should imagine the whole crowd are wrestling Days fans, to be honest. We just don't shout about it. Just don't shout about it. We're a very reserved community. Bow and arrow by Danielson. And Thatcher grabs the arm of Danielson. Danielson down on the ground. Thatcher stomping on the arm. This style of match bores me, said Rock and Sock. It's a proper mat-based catcher's catch can. It's to be honest, it's a style that you just don't see loads of. So like, it's kind of more. I think you have to have really good commentators to make this style work. Kick to the face there, and I think you also have to put in some like little callbacks and stuff like that. I think you can make these matches very good. But on a show where you've got such eye-catching, high-flying kind of action, you know, blood and all this kind of stuff, it's a challenge. Down goes Danielson. He's trying to get it's a double wrist lock, but he's trying to get the submission over, but he was trying to get the arm up, but Danielson gets over to the ropes. Thatcher breaks the holds. Andrade and Miro should form a tag team called the Invisible Men, said Reese. Are you bored with having to go through a group to get a match thing? Yeah, I mean, I don't need that for Starks. What they just said I don't mind it for Danielson. I don't know that I can't remember the last time we saw it before Danielson had to do it. I suppose he's not going through a group, but he's having to go through certain amount of opponents. Honestly, I don't mind that. But hearing Jericho Appreciation Society saying that Starks has now got to do the same with them, I don't need that, to be honest. Is Thatcher joining Blackpool Combat Club after this? He would fit in. What's happening with Blackpool Combat Club? I mean, since Regal left, I mean, what is there a Blackpool Combat Club? I know that Claudio and Wheeler Yuta just came down to help Moxley, but we never see those guys competing as a faction. They never come out together. I don't know what's happening with Danielson. He was having a fallout with Wheeler Yuta. He seems to be focused on MJF at the moment, so he seems to be out of it. I don't even know what Blackpool Combat Club represents anymore, what they are, what's going on with them, if they're even a thing. I sort of feel like there's something there. But yeah, that's a whole thing that needs to be cleaned up, to be honest. Thatcher grabbing at the face of Danielson, throwing down a big clubbing blow. You can lose to Danielson and it still make you look like $1 million, said Davids. I'm ready for Jade and Velvets. Are you enjoying the show? I think it's been all right, but without the stream, I would be a bit bored, said Big Time. Yeah. I don't think it's been a bad show. I think the 2 matches have been good. I think that there was a little bit of story in there in regards to the Acclaimed and the Guns and Billy, so I appreciated that. Nice to see Renee popping up backstage. There's some stuff here. I don't think this is a disaster. But again, it does bring me back to there's nothing here. There's no big segment like Bray or Sammy and Bloodline and things along those lines. That's what missing. Right now, what are we waiting for? The main event of Darby Allin and Samoa Joe, because that. I mean, 2 decent names. I'm sure it'll be a decent match. I can't say I'm really that bothered by it. I could quite comfortably turn this off now. I feel like the big segment, the big match was Hangman and Moxley. That felt like the big match. And we got that first. So, yeah, that's the only downside. But everything we've had in that first hour, I was entertained. Yeah. Halftime scores were all around. I said a lot of 7s, to be honest. Said a lot of 7s, few 6s, few 8s. It was kind of around the 7s. I don't think that's unfair. Whether this second hour can maintain that, though, I'm not sure. We'll find out, won't we, as Thatcher throws in some shots to Danielson. Danielson against the ropes. And he's looking for a suplex. Over goes Danielson. Danielson down at the moment as Thatcher comes over looking for the pin. Danielson kicks out. I do like Thatcher's facial expressions. Thatcher grabbing a hold of Danielson, smashing him face first into the corner. Thatcher's doing well here. His facials are really good. He's very methodical. He's going through lots of different holds, and the only problem is that he's not really getting much reaction out of the crowds at the moment. Double underhooks. He's got a submission applied to Danielson in the corner. Danielson starting to come back, though. Shots coming in. And again, crowd starting to get back into it as the baby face is coming back. Headbutt by Danielson. Down goes Thatcher. Thatcher looking for a superplex, but Danielson throwing in some big shots. Throwing in some shots to the midsection. Headbutt. Down goes Thatcher. Danielson climbing up. Perched. In position. Looking for a missile drop kick. Down goes Thatcher. So Thatcher down. Danielson down. Come on, Bryan Danielson, said Ledger Killer. Hello, Trini. Hope you're well. The thing with AEW, it feels like it's just the exact same week after week, said Watson. I don't think that's unfair, to be honest. But that would be so sweet. Regal could have stayed and could have managed Thatcher, said Paul. That would have been fun. Uppercuts coming in by Thatcher. Thatcher going in Blackpool Combat Club's a great shout as well. I do agree. Do agree with that. Kicks coming in. And again, Danielson throwing in these kicks. See, part of the problem here is that no one's seen Thatcher, so we don't really know how deadly some of these holds are. If he had gone out there and, like, you know, put people away quite quickly with some of these holds, and then all of a sudden he's getting him onto Danielson, this is what I'm saying, like, they would feel a lot more dramatic. But right now they don't feel quite as dramatic because it's really hard to know how much peril Danielson is in because we just haven't seen Thatcher in action. This is his debut. Giving a decent account of himself, though. Elbows coming into side of the head here by Danielson. We got a little advert for Fight Forever. Winner, best sports game coming soon. And nice headlock applied. Awesome job by AEW camera crew capturing Thatcher's facial expressions, says Brenton. Adam said, how is Thatcher not from North London? He looks like he belongs in a Guy Ritchie movie. He does, doesn't he? He does. Working on the arm of Bryan Danielson. He's trying to get out of that. Oh, referee is down. Referee is down. Thatcher. Back suplex. Danielson down. Referee is down. Thatcher is down. We got drama. We got drama. Is someone coming down to the ring? Is this going to be MJF? MJF's coming out. MJF is coming out. He's got the ring on. It's done now, says MJF. He's wearing that shirt that you can buy. Who's this? Takeshita. Takeshita has jumped MJF. Hurling MJF into a railing. Chased him to the back, so he's managed to prevent MJF from getting involved. So Takeshita helping Danielson out. He's in a bit of a tough spot here, Danielson. His submission hold applied, armbar applied. Looks nasty as well. And he's trying to get over to the ropes. I mean, he will, won't he? He will. I mean, like, another issue with these matches is that you know Danielson's going to win because, of course, he's going to go on to face MJF. So it does take a little bit of the drama. Like, I don't look at these submissions and think to myself, oh, he's going to tap here. That's another tough position, isn't it, for Thatcher to be in? I don't get how won an award for best game when it's not been released. I don't know how that works. I'm guessing that it's finished and they submitted it and it won an award. I mean, I think the game's finished. I just think they can't sort out the rating, is what I read earlier today. How true that is, I'm not sure, but J14, hello, buds. Hope you're well. Big knee by Danielson. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And it's a win for Danielson. Thatcher, I thought, looked pretty good. As I said, there wasn't really much going in his favor for this one. But Danielson picking up that dub. Picking up that sweet, sweet dub. Mr. Dell Jr., happy birthday for 7 days ago. Big Time said, I heard the AEW video game is postponed. We're backstage. Takeshita and MJF are fighting in a corridor. MJF getting a chair, hurling it at Takeshita. Trash can hurls that at Takeshita as well. We've got a table that's set up. And MJF goes face first into that table. These two brawling in the corridor. We've got plenty of people, officials, trying to separate them. And they do separate them. Here's Renee. What trainers is she wearing? She got Converse on. Takeshita versus MJF in an eliminator match. Takeshita versus MJF in an eliminator match as per Tony Khan. Little more story here. Little twist and turn. At least it made it seem like the table was there for a reason. What the hell is an eliminator match? Well, it means that if Takeshita wins, he'll get a title opportunity. Now, whether that means that Revolution would turn into a triple threat, I don't know. Or would it just be a case that Takeshita would get an opportunity on the road to... I'm guessing on the road. On the road to Revolution, I think he'd probably get a title opportunity. So it could be Takeshita versus Danielson. I mean, it won't be, but bad spell and +1 Monday mental. Rock and Sock, shout out to you. James said, I wonder if AEW are going to do some sort of injury story with Danielson. Stop him from competing. Danielson could say you took my career away once before and he's not doing it again. With Danielson and Dr. Sampson. I'm not expecting anything like that here. Whether we get something like that a bit further down the road, I don't know. Coming up next, guys, the People's Main Events. Jade Cargill against Red Velvet. Come on. Yes. Jade Cargill against Red Velvet. The People's Main... Here we go. A lot of you have been like, this show's been all right. Here we go. We're at commercial break. Get your snacks. Get ready. Things about to go big. Do you think Dustin will come back to WWE for WrestleMania? That would be sick. He needs to, doesn't he? Cody wins, he needs to. Dustin needs to be there. I don't know that there's anything Tony can do to stop that. Because what's Tony going to do? Shout at him. You'd take that shouting, wouldn't you? What's going to stop him from being at WrestleMania and being in the front row congratulating his brother? I'm not saying he's going to be able to get in the ring. But what's going to be able to stop him from being in the front row? If he wants to be in the front row, WrestleMania for that moment, yeah, Cody will make that happen for him. Vince will make that happen for him. Because it all plays into the story, doesn't it? This story's about his family not achieving it and Cody achieving it. Dustin will want to be there for it. I don't even think Tony would stop it. I don't even think he can stop it. Because what's he going to say? No, you can't. If you are, I'll suspend you. All right. I mean, all right. Yeah. Without the Goldust character, Dustin wouldn't have had a career, said Inside Out and Again. I'm excited for that match. It's a great match. Bryan versus Thatcher. Ricky Starks was backstage supporting Cody. So how is it different? Well, it's different being on camera to being off camera. You know, to be backstage. You know, I mean, like we necessarily wouldn't have found out that Ricky Starks was there because he wasn't shown during the broadcast. But we're talking about, you know, Cody celebrating, going over, embracing his brother, being in the front row, and, you know, Dustin Rhodes potentially getting on camera at WrestleMania. I think he's got to be there. He's got to be there. And when I say be there, I don't just mean, like, I think this story is about his family. Like, Dustin really, should be involved. Should be, even if it's just an embrace. Even if it's just Cody wins it in tears, looks up to the heavens, says a word to Dusty, rolls out the ring, embraces his brother, and his family are there. You got to do that. Got to do that. So, as I said, like, is Tony really going to say no to that? And if he is, I think that's a real shame. If he does, well, it's a decision for Dustin to make. Do I listen? Or do I not listen? Personally, I wouldn't listen. I'd be right there. If my brother was winning the WWE Championship, I would want to not only be there, you know, I'd want to be in that moment as well. And it's a really good shout, that is. I wouldn't be surprised if Tony wanted to go as well, so he could hug the life out of Cody. Undercover manager, shout out to you. We've got MJF going up to Roosh. Got money. My Spanish is mid. I know one language, mucho. Got a briefcase of mucho. I got 5 more of those with your name on. All I need you to do is beat Danielson by any means necessary next week. So MJF has gone to Roosh. I want Roman to win, but they're going with Cody. To be fair, it fits with Cody, but I know I won't like it, says Maggie. Jeremy said, this is bad for AEW. This is obviously pre-taped right after the pull-apart. Deal has been made. Tony did sign off on Jericho, Danielson, and White video testimonies at Cena's 20th. So I could see him being cool with it, says Adam. MJF walking off. Deal has been made. Right, here is Red. Right, here we go. People's main events. People's main events. Red Velvet making her way down. 3-0 in 2023. You better put some respect on this name. 3-0 in 2023. Undefeated. A lot of shimmering and shaking around, isn't there? Arms out, spin the cup, tilt the head, stare in the distance, walk away. Nice. Walk away with a bit of sass. Nice. Jen and Lorelei, shout out to you, my friends. I hope you are well. Hope you are having a very good 2023. I never needed you at all. I don't even know who she comes. Who's this Boomer. Who's she come out with now? Layla Gray. Who the hell's that? Jay Cargill here with Lady Grey. Earl Grey tea. Right, making her way down. This is going to be unmissable. Jen and Lorelai said, can we take a moment to appreciate the fact if this was a few years ago, we'd be stuck with Brandy against Jade instead of Red Velvet. Not an era that I care to revisit. Love you guys. Jennifer, shout out to you. Hope you are well. Yes, not an era that I think any of us want to revisit. So instead of Brandy, we got Red Velvet. Red Velvet 3-0 in 2023. Thez press there by Red Velvet, throwing down some big shots. Duck underneath by Red Velvet. Back elbow there by Jades. Jennifer and Lorelai said, love you guys. That wasn't to me. That was to you guys. So Jen and Lorelai getting over as faces in the community. To the outside goes Jades. Earl Grey comes round, checks on her. Against the ropes goes Red Velvet. Red Velvet through the ropes. Drop kick. Goes over. Has a words. Comes back elbow there by Jades. There's a right hand there by Red Velvet. Chop coming in. Knife edge chop right on the boob. It was top part of the boob. Upper boob. Goes over, looking to roll up Red Velvet. Back up on her feet, looking for a kick. Jade catches the leg. Spins Red Velvet around. Duck underneath by Red Velvet. Goes up, down, suplex by Jade. She seemed to get caught by I think she got suplexed onto the bottom rope. I think we're all right to proceed, though. 1, 2. Oh, shoulder up. Fair play. I thought she was done. Jade just suplexed her, and I think she smacked her head off the bottom rope, and she was absolutely lifeless. Aubrey went over like, are you all right? And she dragged her into the middle of the ring, absolutely lifeless. I thought we were done. 1, 2. But Red Velvet kicked out, you know. Again, Jade kicking out. Red Velvet's grabbing a hold of her leg at the moment. People's main event right now. WWE 2K22, shout out to you. Hope you're well. Wrestler with Andy said, who dethrones Jade? It's a good question, isn't it? Who do you think dethrones Jade? Who dethrones Jade? Like Britt Baker don't need it. It's someone that needs to be built up, isn't it, really? I don't know if that person exists. Who needs to be built up? What baby face needs to be built up? Chris Statlander, where is she? Willow? Sky Blue? I don't know what your options are. You need a baby face that would really benefit. I mean, it would be a push. I don't know how big of a push, but it would be a push. Beating Jade would be Timothy Thatcher. Give it Timothy Thatcher. Yes. Mercedes Moné. If she comes in, she ain't going after the mid-card belt, surely. If you get Mercedes Moné, surely she goes right to the top of the card, doesn't she? I'd take Statlander, but she's still healing, says Blaze Radio. Oh, Gorilla Press Slam, Military Press, she's going. Oh my God, that's great. Look at that. That's great. Oh, everything about that was awesome. She pressed her on the outside, then she walked up the steps with her, then she chucked her into the ring. Red Velvet landed onto the top rope, spun in the air. Everything about that little sequence was so good. Damn! Legit, that was good. This is awesome. Chant from the crowd, you know. The crowd are chanting, this is awesome. The people's main event is delivering. Jade going down, doing some push-ups as Red Velvet is over in the corner. This is the advantage when you've got someone as big and strong as Jade and someone as small as Red Velvet. I mean, she can just ragdoll her around, you know, chuck her around. She is literally doing exactly that. Look at this. Look at that. Walking up, and then when she chucks her in, bang, on the top rope. Red Velvet goes, sold it like a trooper. Double knees by Red Velvet. Jade's hit coming in by Red Velvet. And again, hit to the midsection. Velvet goes against the ropes. Big boot by Jade. Down goes Red Velvet. 1, 2, kick out. Statlander has been out for 6 months. I have heard that surgery usually takes 6 to 8 months. Who's this? Kira Hogan's here. Kira Hogan. Could she be the one? She's a babyface. She needs a push. She's an ex-baddie. Nasty, whatever they're called. Kick coming to the head. Red Velvet. Looking for the pin. Oh, Aubrey. Aubrey. 1, 2. And shoulder up. She could have been the one in 49-1. So Kira Hogan came down. She was distracting the refs. It's a lovely hold, isn't it? Look at that. She's got Jade's arm all tied up there. Aubrey just having a word with Jade. Jade is selling at the moment in the middle of the ring. Oh, this is all right, you know. This is all right. A nice little submission hold that she's got applied here. Jade using that strength again. Look at that. Right up onto her shoulder. Roll up. Jade grabs Velvet. Picks her up. Grabs her. Plants her down, and that will do it. 1, 2, 3. Jade wins. Do you know what? Not perfect, but a perfectly acceptable match. And that spot where she carries her in, like presses her and brings her in the ring, I mean, that was pretty sweet. 50-0 for Jade now. $50-0. Ruby Soho or Willow should dethrone Jade, said James. 3.5. Not going to pick at it. Could have been worse. She's got Red Velvet in her hands as she walks off with the belt. So she's carrying the belt and Red Velvet as she walks up the entrance ramp. Red Velvet's in tears. Red Velvet's in tears, probably because she lost the match. But there we go. Looks like she's getting to keep her opponent. Right, we're backstage with Jamie and Britt Baker. If that's how they want to play this... Oh, here's Ruby. Come here a minute. Ruby asking Britt, are you good? You've known them a lot longer than you've known me. Ruby is like, I had nothing to do with that. Britt doesn't trust Ruby. Boom. I think Jade's daughter thinks it's still real. It's still real to her, damn it. Right, they're just talking about what's happening on Rampage. Swerve against Brian Pillman. Have you ever had scalloped potatoes? Oh, what the hell's that? What's a scalloped potato? I know what a scallop is, and I know what a potato is, but how do you scallop a potato? No. Don't know what that is. Christopher Danielson and Roosh is a weird match. Right. Next week, we've got the Acclaimed against the Guns. Next week, MJF against Takeshita. Next week, the Garcia-Guevara Gauntlet. Jamie Hayter takes on the Bunny next week as well. Coming up next, Darby Allin, Samoa Joe. It's time for the main events. TNT Championships, no hold barred. Darby Allin, Samoa Joe. I made scallop potatoes. They're very delicious. You should search them up. I got a feeling Jade retained because her daughter was there. AEW turning Saraya heel already really makes no sense whatsoever, said James. What can you get scallop potatoes at a chippy? It's just deep fried potato. I've never even heard of it. Never even heard of it. Cut flat slices of potato, put water, milk, and butter in a casserole pan, and then mix it around with the scallops. Watson. Highlights today. What are the highlights today? I think the matches have been good. I've enjoyed the matches. I thought Moxley, Hangman put on a good match. Just didn't enjoy the finish. Thought the Takeshita match was a bit slow at first, but I was into it towards the end. I thought Thatcher. I feel sorry for Thatcher. I think he went in there and it's a style that's not that eye-catching, but it's a style that can still be very dramatic if you build it right and the commentary's right and the backstory's right. He was coming in cold. I think people know who he is, but as I said at the time, if you don't know how deadly his moves are, if you haven't seen those moves tapping other people out, it's hard to feel the peril or really feel the drama when it's happening to Danielson. Like, I sort of feel like there was a whole load of backstory and backgrounds that needed to be done before we got that match. And then, as we said, the fact that there was no way Danielson was losing, that also hurt that match. But I mean, it's all right. It's fine. I just think it's been pretty... And the Jade match just properly impressed me. Honestly, I don't think it's anything amazing or, oh my God, you've got to see it. It's just expectations were pretty low, right? And yeah, honestly, that spot is maybe my favorite spot of the whole night, where she pressed her on the outside, then walked up the steps and then chucked her in the ring. I seem to recall, didn't Bianca do that to Sasha at WrestleMania 37? Got a feeling she did a spot very similar to that at WrestleMania 37. It's one thing for Jade to do it to Red Velvet. It's something else for Bianca to do it to Mercedes Moné. Even so, though, it's a great looking spot. It's a great looking spot. No scallops. It's called scalloped potatoes. It's referred as twice baked potatoes, depending on region, says Funky Pluck. Right, here we go. Anything goes in your main event. Justin Roberts, the Dapper Yapper. Samoa Joe versus Darby. Here's Kane. It's gotta be Kane. Oh, no, it's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe coming out. Swerve's house. 42 weeks as Ring of Honor World Television. That's a long time. 42 weeks as World Television Champion. 42 weeks. Samoa Joe making his way. I do miss that music. Bum 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 bum. That was sick. This music just doesn't hit as hard. Boom, boom, boom. Here's Darby. 42 weeks. That's a lie. Here's Darby Allin. How long till someone bleeds? I don't know, actually. Do you reckon they will? Do you reckon they will? They probably will. What's he wearing? Are they thumbtacks all over him? He's come out with a hoodie that's got thumbtacks all over it. So Darby is coming down with that's mental, isn't it? Mental. He's coming down with a hoodie and there are thumbtacks all over the hoodie and he collides into Samoa Joe. Now he's delivering forearms to Samoa Joe. Well, there we go. I mean, he's probably going to bleed quite quickly, isn't he, with that thing on? It coming in there by Joe. Joe is covering his hands. He wraps his hand in the towel. There's like thumbtacks that come flying off. Yeah, so he's taking off that jacket, chucks it out the ring. Tell you, if I was a wrestler, I'd be so upset with thumbtacks. Thumbtacks is something that a flaming table I would be all right with. Believe it or not. I feel like it's moody. It's definitely moody, but it's a moment of moodiness. I just think thumbtacks. That's one that's gonna really sting. I should imagine going through a flaming table would sting, but you can get like that fire resistant kind of spray that you put on yourself that kind of gives you a bit of protection. Do you remember when Cody went through the table? Flaming table. He was like, it looked like he was peeling before we even got to that bit. And I remember saying, like, why is he peeling? Has he burnt himself? But it's because he was absolutely covered in like fire resistant stuff. So I feel like that you can do some, but you can't. There's nothing you can do to stop a thumbtacks going in you. Nothing you can do to like prevent that. That one would, that would be the one I think that I'd be like, oh, I just don't want to do that. Flaming table, oh yeah, I'll do it. Jumping off a cage, yeah, I'll do it. But, oh man, the thumbtacks. Oh, I don't want to do it. That was pretty cool from Darby. He got hurled into these ring steps. He ended up flipping over the barricade. He landed on his feet, but he was still pretty battered. We're in the crowd right now. Knee strikes coming in. Into the railing. We do have blood. Joe bleeding. Face first into the railing. Into the steps. What are the chances Mick Foley is actually the real thing? Jumps over the railing and sets himself on fire. I'd say quite low. Joe and Darby on the steps in the crowd. Still got 15 minutes left here, so plenty of time for this main event. Dominic said, do we all agree Chris Statlander has to be the one to dethrone Jade? I don't know that people were in agreement with that. There was a few different thoughts. I feel like Chris Statlander was... Oh, my God. That looked horrific. He just picked him up and slammed him down onto these concrete steps. I mean, it looked horrific. Oh, my God. They're going to show a replay. Oh, my God. He manages to get his... So that angle, you don't see that angle the first time. He gets picked up, slammed down, like he goes down head first. He just gets his forearm out. He just manages to get the impact here. Oh, my God. It looks so good. It looks so good. These are big. Oh, my God. Oh, God. These are big risks that they're taking. Joe has just thrown Darby over the railing. There's ring steps there. He's clearly caught the ring steps. He's hit the side of his head as well. I feel like some of these risks were taken. We shouldn't be taking some of these. Slamming Darby onto the ring steps. Oh. He landed on them steps on the way back. He did. Check the DM. I've sent you a picture of the scalloped potatoes. We'll have a look afterwards. Darby is a move away from being paralyzed. That's the fear, isn't it? That really is the fear. Like, how long is he going to get away with this? Because what he just did on the concrete steps was, I mean, obviously he gets his hand out. Fantastic. It looked amazing. But then that bit where he just chucks him over the railings as well, like that was brutal as well. The other thing for me is that spot on the concrete steps. It looked amazing. It's nowhere near the end of the match. Like, that's the kind of thing that you would build up, back and forth, which way it's going to go. Like, the cherry on top should be that moment. It looked incredible. It's a big, risky spot, and it's not the kind of thing that 99.9% of wrestlers would agree to do, but Darby does it, right? Which is, I mean, credit to him that he's willing to put himself at that sort of risk. But if you're going to put yourself at that sort of risk, make the most out of those moments. That spot has been and gone. We've had another spot down by the railing. We've still got 12 minutes to go. There's going to be other spots coming up. Rather than milking and getting the most out of these amazing moments, they're just part of the match. Like, now we do this, now we do this, now we do this. I wish we would build them better and structure the matches better so that we can get more out of those moments, you know? Some of these spots just are incredible. But nothing more annoying than someone sending the same message in the chat. Imagine if he got body slammed onto Sonny's scalloped potatoes. Wow, that's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream. Darby is down. We were at commercial break, but we're back from that commercial break right now. Blood. You can see the cut on the face of Samoa Joe. I think we want Darby. Let's go Joe chants in the crowds. Everyone on their feet at the moment. We're in the ring as Samoa Joe is twisting at the neck of Darby. Let's go, Joe, said J25. I hope he's just in one piece at the end of this match, said Mustafa. Definitely. I mean, he's so brave. He takes amazing risks. He deserves all the plaudits. You know, some of the stuff he's able to put himself through is absolutely incredible. Blood pouring down Joe's face as he goes for the pin and shoulder up. So shoulder up. Joe very much in control, though, and he's being quite slow, methodical. Joe looks like a killer, said Mitchell. Joe looking for a chop. Bang. Delivers it. Darby Allin stumbles back. He's still on his feet, though, as another chop comes in. Darby Allin falls through the ropes. Yeah, Joe does look like a killer in this because he's done these spots and he just keeps coming. He just doesn't care. There's no remorse. No remorse. He's just constantly like relentless. He's grabbing a table. Joe telling people to move out the way. He's putting the table on the barricades. So there's a table on the barricade right by the all the Mick Foleys. Darby in the middle of the ring. What's he gonna? I mean, what's he looking to do? Great match, said Big Time Baxter. Darby's there for the kids, not the wrestling fans. Get 'em, Joe. Rip his head off, said Jilly. Chop's coming into the corner. Oh! Darby gets chucked out the ring, but not through the table that had been set up. Chucked him over the top. He didn't go through the table. The table might have even softened the landing a little. What the hell is going on? Says Taz, we're laughing, but we're not laughing. He literally just picked him up, threw him out the ring. Not even through the table to break the fall, just outside the ring. Joe picks up Darby and plants him down. Goes out the ring looking under the table. Joe looks great, but this is too spot heavy, said Rock and Sock. He threw him like a rag doll. He did. Did you hear Mr. Blobby was at a wrestling show? No. No, I heard someone almost bought Mr. Blobby costume for like 36,000, but they backed out. That's the only Blobby news I've heard. Joe with a couple of chairs. Got the backs of those chairs. This is always brutal, man. The chairs are proper up. He's going to put him. Oh my God. I mean, if you actually wanted to break someone's back, if that was your actual goal, I sort of feel like some of the stuff they're doing is stuff that would pop into your head. Do you know what I mean? He's just set up two chairs with the backs of the chairs sticking up. He's just got Darby and slammed him onto there. How does that not hurt? How does that not damage your back? How do you continue after this? I don't understand. Now he's looking to powerbomb him through. There's some white powder. 1, 2. Kick out by Joe after a code red by Darby. I mean, Darby is on his feet. Over the top. Lovely stunner there by Darby. He's got the jacket. He's going to go for the coffin drop, I think. He's going to put his hoodie on with the pins. And now he's going to go for this coffin drop. It's taking him ages to do it, though. Samoa Joe is still down. The sleeves a bit. Just do it. Yeah, he does it. He does it. He can't quite get it with the pins. Shoulder up by Samoa Joe. Darby wanted to put the hoodie on properly, but he couldn't get the sleeves and he couldn't get it all in. And I don't mind that story, though, because it does sort of make you think, like, if he could. Oh, he's cutting the ring apron. Darby is actually cutting the canvas. He's going to expose the wooden boards here. So he's cutting the cutting that as well. So that's all unhooked. It takes ages to do this, doesn't it? Is it worth it, Darby? I'm sure there's other things you could do, mate. Does need a bigger blade. He's trying to cut that. He's cut that. He's cut that. Oh, what? You got to cut all these sides as well? Jeez. We're going to be here forever. Oh, God. Now he's having to cut all that sides. Couldn't we have got him bigger scissors? Cut forever. Cut forever. It's the new AEW game, Cut Forever. He's exposed. He's taking the padding away. He's exposing the wooden boards. Absolutely ripping the ring apart. So if you ever wanted to know what a wrestling ring looks like naked, ooh, ever wanted to know what a wrestling ring looks like in the nude, ooh, and after all of that, he goes launching at Samoa Joe, who simply moves out of the way, and Darby puts himself through the table that was set up earlier. After all of that, cutting this, cutting this, cutting this, cutting this, cutting this, cutting this, gets into the ring, chucks himself through a table. Oh, what the flip. After all that work, now he's being choked with his own pin hoodie. Oh, God. Took him forever to cut all those things. And then he got in the ring, chucked himself to the outside. Samoa Joe moved out the way, put himself through a table. Darby is back into it, though. He's back on his feet with a chair, walloping Samoa Joe with the chair. In position, going to go for a coffin drop, maybe? No. Referee's in the way. Referee knocks into the ropes. Samoa Joe's going up. He's going to go for a muscle buster off the second rope. He's got Darby. He's got Darby up. He's going to go for a muscle buster up there. That's got to be it. 2, 3. Samoa Joe wins. Damn. I mean, that's... You got to say, I mean, love me now. They absolutely... What more could they have done? Oh. Ripped the ring apart. They were fighting in the crowds. Amazing spot on the steps in the crowds. Horrific. I mean, it's all horrific. All of it makes you nervous for Darby, but listen, Darby's the one putting himself through it. So here's Wardlow. Wardlow steps out. Wardlow. Poor Darby. Wardlow jumping into the ring, and down goes Samoa Joe. So Wardlow unload him. Imagine watching this on Disney Plus. I've got a bad feeling Darby will be paralyzed one day. Yeah, I mean, that is the concern, but I don't think that we can use that as a reason to say that match was not bonkers. Do you know what I mean? That match was so much fun. Darby is reckless. Even Darby cutting the thing, getting in the ring, chucking himself. You can just believe that he would do that. I really enjoyed that. I actually think the wrestling tonight has been very good. That was quite the spectacle. This has been my favorite Dynamite in quite a while, actually. Been my favorite Dynamite in quite a while. I'd say easily my favorite Dynamite of 2023. Easily. And I can't even remember that much in December that like really grabbed me. So I feel like it's been a while since I really enjoyed a Dynamite. And gotta say, even though this is maybe not like a classic or anything along those lines, that is a crazy main event. When we're talking about like crazy Dynamite moments, I feel like that main event will probably be in the conversation at the end of the year. What do you score the show? What do you score the show? You score it 9 to 10. Do you score it 8 to 8.75? Do you score it 7 to 7.75? There was a lot of sevens around the halfway point. I feel after that main event, I'm probably going to be there or even higher now. We'll see what people say. I tweeted you a clip of the Blobby thing. In this day and age. Oh, yeah. Mr. Blobby Mill masquerade himself out of the Rumble to put over younger talent. Pretty wild, isn't it? What promotion is that? Do you know? What promotion is that? Get your votes in. And I know everyone's going to want to see... Oh, I don't know if I can show it, you know. I don't know if the file size is going to be or the file image will be the right one, Sonny. I don't think it is, you know, mates. Go back into it. Everyone's going to want to see Sonny's scalloped potatoes. I'll have to do it a different way. I'll do it as a window thing. Yes, I can. Give me a second. Here they are. Woo! It's tasty, you know, mate. That looks tasty, that does. Yeah, very good. Very good. Made me hungry now, though, but very good. I'm not disappointed. I know the TNT championship reigns are not long, so I'm not disappointed, said Joshua. They didn't bring out the chainsaws, but they did bring out everything else, said Brenton. David said, I'm 765, fair score for AEW, like WCW. Chrissy said 8s. Nando said AEW was fun. Haven't watched it in months, but I will be back next week. Courtney, good night, my friends. Elliot said no L show. Does that mean no, it was an L show or no L show? Don't know which one that is. Shakeem says AEW was not good today. Exposing said, now I'm hungry. It's very good for a first time making them, said Sunny. Why does the right side look moldy? Oh. Let's not throw shade on Sunny's cooking. None of us came here today for this AEW stream to be throwing shade at Sunny's cooking. It's not mold, said Sunny. Is there mince under that? God, I didn't realize this was going to be as popular as what it was, but here we go. We'll throw it back up again. These are Sunny's. There will be a Wrestling Days cookbook coming out soon. We'll make sure that Sunny's scalloped potatoes are included in there. I mean, listen, mate, they look tasty. They look tasty. They look like they got some flavor to them. I appreciate that. Funko Pop Asylum, shout out to you. LT said, I'm glad we've got a variety or alternative, however you want to see it, WWE or AEW. Jojo said, Sunny is the best cook. I didn't like it. It was dumb. No one wants Samoa Joe to be champion, said Elliot. Someone said AEW show best in months. 5 out of 10, said Joshua. They do look good. Brenton said, I think it was about an 8. Main event was insane, even by AEW standards. Darby has a death wish. Great Danielson match. Crazy main event. Rest of the show was fine. No, I feel that way. I feel like when you guys were at like about 7 or so, I feel like I said 7 a lot at the halftime score. I was sort of there or thereabouts. I really enjoyed that main event. So for me, I think it will have pushed it up as well. I think this was an easy show to watch. It was an easy show to watch. I don't think there was anything here that like offended me. No segments here that I was like, oh, I didn't need. I mean, the one segment I thought I would feel that way about was Jade and Red Velvet. And there's some moments in that match that I think look really good. I love that. Love that press. That press on the outside where they're walking up the steps with her. That's a great spot. That's really, really cool. Yeah. I make potato pancakes, said Chill Dude. They said, I try not to compare AEW and WWE. I just enjoy both for what they are. Baxter said, the show was really good. I enjoyed it. I hope they get their million. It'll give them a confidence boost. I don't think they will. They might do. I don't think they will.
I never needed you at all.
Mitchell Gillum is a legend. They donated $1.99. Here we go. They ain't getting no millions, says Maggie. SmackDown, Raw, NXT, Dynamite. What's your favorite? It changes, Philip. It's hard to say what the favorite is because I mean I've seen some really bad Raws, I've seen really bad NXTs, I've seen really bad Dynamites, I've seen really bad SmackDowns. The only thing I would say is that from an excitement point of view, from a anticipation point of view, nothing can match SmackDown for me at the moment because of the Sammy story and the Bray stuff. So for me, SmackDown is the show I get most excited for. But actually, when it comes to show quality, that really varies. It really varies. Mitchell said, I've settled on an 825 for today. The wrestling was great. Mitchell, shout out to you. Right. We're at, what are we at? 134. Oh, can we get to 150? Maybe get 16 more. Well, wait, we'll see if we can get to 150. We'll try and get to 150. Elliot said WWE is better. Justin said only 6 people have held that TNT title. Cody, Darby, Wardlow, Joe, Guevara, and Scorpio Sky. John said, do you think the Moxley match should have been the main event instead? No. I actually think they got it right because it depends how you want to look at it. If from a ratings point of view, was there much to keep people around after Moxley and Hangman had finished? Maybe Danielson. Would people have stuck around for Samoa Joe, Darby Allin? I feel like hardcores would, but I was not that bothered, if I'm being honest. I wasn't like, oh my God, I've got to see that match. I think that if I was not streaming, there's a good chance that I could have walked away from that show. I saw Moxley, I saw Hangman, I saw the bit of the show. I was enjoying it, but do you know what? I don't need to see the Jade Red Velvet thing. I'm not too fussed about Darby and Samoa Joe, like for a secondary title. I think I could have walked away. So from a ratings point of view, you could make the argument that doing it that way around might not be the best thing in the world, but they will start with a big number. Moxley and Hangman will ensure that big number sticks around. So you know they will have hopefully have kept their most viewers come at the start of the show. So by putting something red hot at the start, you're keeping the most amount of people around for as long as possible. So there is logic on going big. You know, this is why SmackDown opens with Roman. Do you know what I mean? We don't open SmackDown with Aaliyah versus Natalya, right? Because at the start of the show, that's when you've got your most viewers. And so you want to keep people around for as long as possible because there will be a drop-off, but you want to delay that drop-off as much as possible. So from a ratings point of view, you can understand why they would go with Moxley Hangman as the first match. I do think, though, that after that, the drop-off, I think, is going to be quite big. Because I just don't know what there was to keep people around after that. So you can really argue it a few different ways when it comes to ratings. But I think from a show point of view, from an actual booking point of view, like looking at the show, I don't think you can do what we just did with Samoa Joe and Darby Allin ripping up the ring, doing all of that stuff, and do that first, and then repair the ring, which you could do. You could repair the ring. That's not an issue. You can easily go to a backstage interview and all this, and do something on the entranceway whilst you're repairing the ring. So you'd be able to do it, but trying to follow what Samoa Joe, I mean, I made the point, how do you follow what Hangman and Moxley have just done with Moxley bleeding and everything? How are you going to follow that? Well, they did, didn't they? They did, because the main event was even more extreme. So that's why they probably did get it the right way round. Because I just don't think you wouldn't want to follow what Samoa Joe and Darby Allin have just done. So unless you toned it down, I mean, you could always tone that match down, book that match to be a bit more like what we got from Hangman and Moxley, but then that would mean that Hangman and Moxley would have to go a bit further in the main event. So I don't know. I certainly am not going to look at it and say that they got it wrong. I think they got the two matches in the right places, and I think that you could probably interchange them, and there's an argument from a creative point of view as to why you would have the matches in different places. There's an argument from the ratings point of view why you would do that as well. But I don't think I would look at it and go, nah, they botched it. They got it completely wrong. You wouldn't do this for this reason or that for that reason. As I said, your most number of viewers around at the start, so keeping them around for as long as possible is important. But equally important, you need a big main event to hopefully bring some people back and get a nice finish. I don't know that Darby, Samoa Joe would have got people to come back, but if they did come back, they would have been entertained. It would have been worth coming back for. They would have seen something. So, right, let's end this poll. See what people are saying. AEW's last 30 always falls into 800,000, says Big Time Baxter. What do you score the show? 8 to 875, 35%. 9 to 10, 24%. 675 below, 20%. 775, 19%. This is a show that's really divided opinion. Look at that. People are all over the scale. So we've got like 20% in the 7s, 20% in the 6s, 25% in the 9 to 10, 35% in the 8 to 875. So 8 to 875, I would say, relatively comfortably wins. But I think the bigger story there is the fact that it's not everyone's at the top and there's only like 5% that are down towards the bottom. It's quite big percentages in all of the brackets. It's really spread. That vote is really spread. I would probably be finishing in the 7s, personally. I'd be in the 7s. I was probably a 7 at the halfway point, but it might have been 675, but it was around that. But I think I finished comfortably in the 7s. That main event was wild. I mean, there's some moments in that main event I really popped for because they look so horrific. And I understand the argument of, look, he's gonna paralyze himself. He can't be doing this stuff. But the counter argument is these are the risks that he is willing to take. He is willing to put his body through this for your entertainment. And so is he going to paralyze himself one day? Maybe. And I really hope he doesn't. Of course, I don't want to see that. And I don't want him to do that. And someone should be like trying to stop him from doing that as well. But whilst he's in this reckless attitude that he's got, whilst he's going through this I say phase, it may not be a phase, it just might be him. He might just be living life to the max, but whilst he's going through this, it's providing some absolutely incredible moments. I mean, him getting slammed on those concrete steps was just insane. Him getting chucked over that railing onto where the ring steps were was mental. Ripping the ring apart, muscle busted onto exposed planks. I mean, he's been doing this for years now. So there's definitely different ways to look at it. I do understand. And as someone that doesn't like extreme wrestling, I'm not into barbed wire and all this kind of stuff. I thought that main event was pretty good, actually. It's pretty good. That was two people really going at anything goes. Two people just really going at each other, trying to get the win. Yeah. Has anyone noticed Dynamite ratings have slowly crept upwards? It's good sign, said Brenton. I think they will get the million. Explosive Werewolf said 9 out of 10. I'm happy with the company that's delivered solid pro wrestling. We'll see how they turn it up at the end of the year. James said Darby should learn from Jeff's mistakes with all of that kind of stuff. I used to flawed NXT got 45% last night. I agree it was a lifeless show. Yeah, I didn't feel that I didn't feel like that should have been in that range. I mean, I do understand that when we do these streams, you're going to have hardcore fans that join us, and welcome. Do you know what I mean? Welcome. But I think they're going to be not biased. That's a bit unfair. I just think that the show caters to them. You know, they're seeing their favorite wrestlers. They're getting development with the storylines that they care most about. So it's not that they're biased per se. It's just it's ticking the boxes for them. So that's all I can put last night's scoring down to be honest, because I didn't think the show was like good. I can't remember exactly what I scored it, but I don't think it was that good. And I thought tonight's AEW was better. I thought that there was much more going on here. But as I said earlier, if there's one show that I really look forward to every week, it's SmackDown right now. And that is our next stream on Friday. Be there, man. It's going to be so good. We get the next development, the next steps in that, obviously, amazing Sammy situation. I mean, it's just going to be amazing, isn't it? I cannot wait. So that's it. We're done, my friends. I really appreciate you joining us. I hope you got some up from it tonight. And I don't think we're around tomorrow. I've just got a jobs list of things to do. But we are back, obviously, on Friday. And we have got NXT on Saturday as well, because it's NXT Vengeance Day. So plenty on the way. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it as always. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.